Douluo, leave everything on autopilot and become a god. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 351 to Pick 7. The matter of Hu Jiu and Zhu's Yuking was not a secret at all, and of course, they did not intend to hide it. Up to now, both Douluo and Zhu's Yuking belonged to Hu Jiu, which was an accepted fact point, but according to what Zhu's Yuking just said, combined with their attitude towards the Star Luo Royal Academy, it is not difficult to see the relationship between Zhu's Yuking and Dame Yubei. Doesn't that mean that Yuking is Boss Day's fiancé? Meng still spoke quickly, but before his mind could react, the words had already blurted out. By the time she reacted and wanted to cover her mouth, it was already too late. Everyone looked at Dame Yubei with embarrassed expressions, not knowing how to comfort him. What does this make them say? It's hard to ask him what it feels like to have his own woman robbed by his brother. Asking this, I'm afraid that Boss Day will turn his face on the spot. Haha. Yuking and I do have this marriage contract, but it's just imposed on us by the family. I always treat Yuking as a younger sister. Dame Yubei smiled lightly, very casual. There are many women in the world, and in his capacity, what kind of woman can't get it? How can he be troubled by a Zhu's Yuking? He didn't want to have a bad relationship with Hu Jiu because of this. Well, I also treat Boss Day as a big brother. Zhu's Yuking nodded in agreement and continued to explain. There is a custom in our two families. In the family, only the highest achiever can become the future heir. Boss Day and I are not the direct sons of the family. Above us, there are my sister and Boss Day's brother, young married, because we are older than us, and because the talent is not lower than us. Day Boss and I have been suppressed by them both overtly and secretly, and life is not good. In the battle for the heir of the big family, the fate of the loser is very miserable. In order to change our destiny, Day Boss and I traveled far away to the Xiandao Empire, in order to improve our strength and fight our destiny, but, since we met ninth brother, our destiny is no longer controlled by them. Dame Yubei raised his head confidently, and there was a stern light in his eyes. This time, I will give them to me. The humiliation is returned. Why is your family like this? Can't you not compete for the heir position? Douluo couldn't help saying, it's not like this. Once the candidates for succession are selected, the family will make these candidates for succession each other's enemies. The winner can inherit the family, but the loser is extremely miserable. At that time, in order to prevent the family from strife, they will obliterate the failure. Therefore, this is no longer a matter of the heir. It is a matter of your death and my death. It is a matter of life, and cannot be backed down. Dame Yubei said with a wry smile. So, your brothers and sisters are in the Douluo Royal Academy, and they are our opponents in the next round? Tang San asked. Yes. Zhu's Yuking's mood has stabilized, and his expression has returned to his usual coldness, but his body exudes an aura that no one is allowed to enter. Okay, don't think too much. I sensed your elder sister and Dame Yubei's elder brother just now, and their level has not even reached the 50th rank. In the entire team, including them, the 40th rank of Spirit Masters is only enough. 6. And there is also a Soul Venerable of more than 30 levels. When Rangrang and I go up, to help you improve your status, you two can vent all your past grievances to your heart's content. Hu Jiu patted Zhu's Yuking on the shoulder and comforted. I'll go to the stage to have a look. Don't worry, I won't shoot. Tang San said. I'm going to. Mahanjan raised his hand. No need. Just me and Yuking go up. I want to show them how strong we are now. I want to see their despair with my own eyes. Empire. Although the results were good, it was not of his own accord. Okay, courageous. Boss Day, I believe you will be fine. Hu Jiu nodded. Since it was their family's personal grievance, it was really difficult for him to go up and help. But remember not to use martial arts fusion skills. What? Yuking is his woman, and he doesn't want his woman to use martial arts fusion skills with others. He doesn't dare. Zhu's Yuking's charming eyes rolled her eyes at Hu Jiu, but there was a hidden joy in her heart. She liked Hu Jiu's domineering appearance. Dame Yubei. Under the leadership of the receptionist, Dame Yubei and Zhu King slowly walked towards the ring. Seeing that there were only 2 people from Shrek Academy on stage, the audience under the stage was in an uproar, and they were all guessing what they wanted to do. Do they want 2 people to challenge a team? This is too arrogant. Shrek Academy is this crazy. Under the stage, Huo Wu and Feng Xiaoshan watched the scene side by side, looked at each other, and a trace of solemnity flashed on their faces. In the academy present, they may be the only ones who know a little about Shrek. Especially Feng Xiaoshan. As a person who often ran to Shrek, he almost understood the status of the 11 Shrek monsters. He has heard the name Day Boss not once or twice. As for the other, Zhu King, who was dressed in black leather armor and had a hot body, although he usually didn't have any sense of existence, it was a problem in itself. As an excellent soul master, how could he inadvertently ignore a girl with such a good figure and such a beautiful face? In fact, in his contact with the Shrek people, he just ignored it. This girl is not simple. Feng Xiaoshan's expression instantly became serious. It's up to you. Huo Wu glanced at Feng Xiaoshan angrily, and she could tell from Zhu King's current aura that fierce and deadly aura actually made her have no confidence to face it. So, Shrek has been hiding his strength. The 2 of them looked at each other, and a trace of horror flashed in their eyes. On the arena, in the other direction opposite Dame Yubei and Zhu King, a group of 7 slowly entered the stage, and the leader walking at the front was strikingly similar to Dame Yubei. The same golden hair was scattered casually, and there was a lazy expression on his face, like a lion patrolling the territory. However, he didn't have Dame Yubei's heavy pupils. His eyes were full of purple light, and he was taller and more mature than Dame Yubei. Beside him, a tall and slender woman was holding his arm, her full body in suet white jade-like skin. Her appearance was actually 8 points similar to Zhu King. But she didn't have Zhu King's temperament, that cold and stubborn look that no one could learn. Even though the 2 looked the same, standing in front of Zhu King, this woman could only be a green leaf to set off Zhu King. Needless to say, they were Davis and Zhu Zuan. Mubei, I didn't expect you to make it to the finals, and you could stand in front of me and challenge me. From this point of view, you have already succeeded. My brother, you have finally grown up. With a gentle smile on his face, Davis looked at Dame Yubei like he was looking at a naughty younger brother again. Chapter 350 To collapse Davis and Zhu Zuan. Davis, put away your hypocritical expression. I look disgusting. Dame Yubei looked at Davis with cold eyes. This face, he has long wanted to smash him. Yo, it seems that our playboys have grown up and learned to talk back. Well, let me see how much you have learned in the past few years. By the way, what about your teammates, you guys? Wouldn't you think that just 2 people will defeat us all? Davis chuckled, looking at Dame Yubei and Zhu King with a playful expression. Zhu King, if I remember correctly, you should not be over 15 years old. It is enough to make it to the finals at this age to prove your excellence. Come back. Your parents miss you very much, although you can't going against the rules set by the ancestors. But when I take over the position of the head of the family, it is no problem to keep you alive. Beside, Zhu Zuan said softly. Her voice was full of temptation. Her soft expression could make people wonder. I feel trapped in it. Zhu Zuan, stop pretending. I'm afraid now you want me to die immediately. Those killers who chased me back then were sent by you. Family love doesn't exist in our family. Zhu King's eyes flashed coldly. If the rules of the game allowing to kill, I'm afraid she has already done it. As she said, family affection has never existed in her family. Although the voices of the conversation in the arena were kept very low by them, with the assistance of the soul tool, these voices were still transmitted. There was an instant uproar in the crowd, and the people eating melons were boiling with emotions. It turned out that among the people who were fighting, there was still such a bloody incident. For a while, everyone was talking about it. The people of the Star Luo Empire were somewhat familiar with the family customs of Dame Yubei and Zhu King, so they didn't feel any surprise. But for the Heaven Dao Empire, this custom was too barbaric. It was simply counterintuitive. Among these people, there are also some with fast brains. such as Huo Wu, such as Feng Zai Ocean Point. They were not interested in the family background between Daimyo Bei and ZHU Zuking, but they attached great importance to what ZHU Zuan said just now. Point. That is ZHU Zuking's age. According to the information they collected, ZHU Zuking's soul power is at least over 40 levels, but it is not easy to achieve such an achievement at the age of 15. It's almost like a top talent point. And thinking a little further, ZHU Zuking is 15 years old. How old are Tang San, Daimyo Bei, and other Shrek students? For a long time, they had never paid attention to the age of Shrek members, and now that they looked back, they seemed to be quite young. Those who thought of this only felt that the pressure was even greater, and even the threat level was comparable to that of the golden generation of Spirit Hall. Point. At this time, the referee discovered that Shrek was really going to send only 2 people to participate, and immediately got up and went to the center of the arena to start hosting the game. Point. The rules of the competition only stipulated that the number of participants should not exceed 7, but it did not say that only 2 people could not be sent to the field. So Shrek Academy was not considered a violation. Prepare for the game. Please release the martial arts from both sides. This is Shrek Academy vs. Crossing Luo Royal Academy. The winner will enter the top 6 in the finals, and the loser will be eliminated directly. Prepare. The moment the referee spoke, Daimyo Bei and Davis, ZHU Zuking and ZHU Zuan, the atmosphere between the 4 suddenly became tense. Davis' gentle gaze changed instantly, becoming arrogant and domineering, like a lion awake, ready to hunt. Brothers, release your martial spirits and let them see how powerful we are. With a long whistle, Davis's aura rose wildly, and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Looking at Daimyo Bei was like looking at a slaughtered lamb. The other students of Crossing Luo Academy immediately released their martial spirits, and all of a sudden, the arena radiated colorful lights, flamboyant and domineering. Davis' martial spirit was the same as Daimyo Bei's. A white tiger. ZHU Zuan and ZHU Zuking have the same spirit. They are also ghost cats, judging from the spirit power fluctuations emanating from the 2 of them. Davis was at least level 47 or 8, while ZHU Zuan was only slightly weaker than Davis, and his level of spirit power was at least level 46 or 7. Behind them, the spirit rings of the other 5 team members also appeared. 4 4-ring spirit masters, and 1 3-ring spirit master add up to 6 spirit clans, and 1 spirit master at this level. The strength is not inferior to the Kamikaze Academy after the merger. It is no wonder that Davis and ZHU Zuan are so confident and have the capital to be proud of. Haha, Davis, it's not like Zuking, and I haven't done anything in these years. Today, I'll show you what strength is. Hahaha, feel the despair. Daimyo Bei laughed wildly, and ZHU Zuking released his own martial soul did not hide any strength. The surging soul power fluctuation spread out on the ring, pressing down Davis and the others only to feel that the air was heavier, and their bodies actually felt stiff. They opened their eyes wide, and looked at the spirit rings at the feet of Daimyo Bei and ZHU Zuking in horror. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 1 black. Daimyo Bei and ZHU Zuking stood by each other, looking lonely, as if they were besieged by Davis and the others. But as long as they saw their spirit rings, they didn't dare to think so. The spirit rings could not be faked. Daimyo Bei with 6 spirit rings represented that he was a spirit emperor. ZHU Zuking with 5 spirit rings represented that she was a spirit king. Powerful, invincible, enchanting. These thoughts flashed in the hearts of the audience, and there is a tendency to become more and more intense. How is it possible? Are they really under 25 years old? Has there been a Soul Emperor under 25 years old on Douluo continent? What the hell is going on with this Shrek Academy? I thought they were crazy and only sent 2 students to fight. Now it seems that they have a good idea. The big thing is not good. The big thing is bad. This time the Continental Advanced College Elite Spirit Master Competition was created by the Spirit Palace to create momentum for the golden generation. But now Shrek Academy has taken the limelight out, and now they are in trouble. Haha, I'm afraid that the Wuhan Palace will lose the madam this time. It is said that this time, His Majesty Pope Bibidong defied all opinions and took out precious soul bones as a champion reward. Now that there is a Soul Emperor, then it's hard to say who the champion is. ZHU. Zuan shook his head frantically and looked at ZHU's Yu King in a very rude manner. Impossible. It's fake. It's all fake. When you left, you were only in your 20s, and it's only been 2 years. How could you become one Soul King? This is an illusion. You tell me. This is an illusion you cast. Davis also had a collapsed expression on his face. He couldn't believe that the person standing in front of him was his younger brother. How could it be? Daemube is only under 18 now. How could he be the Soul Emperor? This is unscientific. Chapter 353 DMUBAIN-039's confidence. However, as one of the 3 seeded teams, Davis and the others naturally had their advantages. Although they were shocked by the level of Daemube and ZHU's Yu King, they quickly reacted. However, although he reacted, his face was not much better. Daemube became the Soul Emperor, and ZHU's Yu King became the Soul King. No matter how hard they tried, they would have at least 10 years to achieve such strength point. But this time is not something that can be obtained by wishing. Just like when he relied on being born a few years earlier, he didn't take Daemube seriously and suppressed it hard. So now it is impossible for Daemube to give him time to continue to grow. The struggle for the heir to the throne has always been cruel. In this year, he is 24 years old, and in another year, the time for the victory and defeat of the heirs will be decided. With Daemube's current level, the chances of winning have already taken up the vast majority. Before he started, he had already lost. Thinking of this, Davis smiled miserably, and murderous intent emerged in his eyes. He didn't want to sit still like this. As an excellent heir born to the White Tiger family, he never lacked the courage to work hard. Mube, it seems that I underestimated you. Although I don't know why your rank has risen so quickly, it doesn't matter. I'm not a coward like you who only knows how to escape. Today, let's make a break here. Come on. Davis grabbed ZHU Zuan next to him and gave her a decisive look. Zuking, although your strength is stronger than mine, don't forget that now you are not only facing the 2 of us. Teach you to be good. You are still too arrogant. ZHU Zuan snorted coldly. The expression also became cold, and it was no longer as gentle as when we first met. The game starts. With the referee's order, everyone in the ring took action. Stop talking nonsense. Look at the tricks. Daemube roared, and there was a loud bang under his feet, and his body had already rushed out, rushing straight towards Davis. Davis and Daemube have the same martial spirit, and their spirit skills are also chosen based on family heritage. There are too many similarities. The moment Daemube rushed out, the first spirit ring under their feet lit up at the same time. They all chose to open the White Tiger shield first. However, as ZHU Zuan said, their opponents are not only one person, so Daemube's target is of course not only Davis alone. The light wave rose against the wind and instantly expanded into a 5-meter wide fan-shaped light wave, covering everyone at the Star Luo Royal Academy. On the other side, ZHU's Yu King was also not to be outdone. His body rushed out, leaving only a black afterimage behind him. In the next instant, he even spared Daemube's White Tiger Guanbo and spared a large circle to appear behind everyone in Star Luo Academy. The sharp cat claws of both hands popped out, with afterimages hitting the Royal Star Luo students who hadn't reacted yet. In the blink of an eye, Daemube and ZHU list turned around and surrounded Davis and the others, but they also have this confidence. After all, not everyone can fight beyond the ranks. With the huge gap in spirit power levels, they have already taken the lead and are invincible. What's more, Daemube and ZHU's Yu King are the kind of geniuses who can fight beyond the ranks. With the 2 of them working together, even a soul sage would not dare to say victory easily, let alone a group of soul sects in their 40s. Zhao. Jiu, do you think Boss Day and ZHU King can win? Zhao Wu grabbed Hu Jiu's shoulders and watched the battle on the ring nervously from the audience, for fear that they would lose the battle in the blink of an eye. Don't worry, Boss Day is not a weak person. Attacking a spirit emperor is not that simple. Even Hu Jiu was very envious of Daemube's attacking ability. Every spirit ability was a powerful attacking spirit ability. It was much simpler than his painstakingly cultivating his own soul skills. According to me, the most difficult thing to deal with is Yu King. With her current speed and weak strength, she can't even see his shadow. Tang San's eyes filled with purple rays of light, obviously having opened the purple devil pupil. That's right, Zhu King was fighting and releasing in the arena, and the entire arena was full of after images left by her. The people of Douluo Royal Academy could only be beaten passively, and couldn't even fight back. After all, if you want to counterattack, you have to find a target, but now they can't even catch Zhu King's figure, let alone counterattack her. Therefore, everyone had no choice but to focus on Douluo point. But Douluo was not afraid. The whole person was already killing mad, wearing a white tiger body shield, facing the numerous attacks. He was stunned to accept all the orders, and he reluctantly attacked. Boom boom boom. On the arena, Douluo was like a demon. Every punch and foot was violently powerful, and even the hard granite ring couldn't bear his pressure, and the stones flew everywhere. You must know that this arena is not composed of ordinary granite. There are also a large number of soul tools around the arena to reinforce the arena. But even so, it was no match for Douluo's every move. The destructive power of the Soul Emperor was undoubtedly manifested at this moment. Raw martial soul fusion skill, Netherworld White Tiger. At this moment, Davis was the first to be unable to hold on, because Douluo's main target was him. Although it seemed that Douluo was slaughtering in the ring, his eyes were fixed on him alone, and attacking others was just an incidental. Even though they knew that Douluo and Zhu King could also use spirit fusion skills, they couldn't control it anymore, and if they didn't fight back, they would lose. Hearing Davis call, Zhu King instantly stopped moving, twisted her body, and rushed in the direction of Davis. While rushing over, her figure had turned into a phantom, and her speed was extremely fast. Seeing that the two were about to merge, neither Douluo nor Zhu King stopped them. They want to defeat the two with absolute power, and they don't worry about the two performing martial arts fusion skills at all. Raw. As the two of them used their martial soul fusion skills, a black and white tiger appeared on the ring. This white tiger was 15 meters long, and about 5 meters high. As soon as the disciples appeared, overwhelming pressure rushed towards Douluo. Haha, it looks a bit like that. Zhu King, deal with the others as soon as possible. They will be handed over to me. Douluo clenched his fists with both hands and touched each other, as if he didn't care about the Netherworld White Tiger at all. In fact, he also has such confidence. The moment the Netherworld White Tiger appeared, Douluo's aura began to grow wildly, and with it, even his body began to swell. The White Tiger Vajra transformation increases the attack, defense and power by 100%. While the White Tiger Demon transformation increases 100% on the basis of the White Tiger Vajra transformation. Douluo activated 2 spirit abilities in a row, and his body swelled up against the wind. In the blink of an eye, his body had already swelled to a height of over 10 meters, and his whole body was covered with white hair. The golden light in his eyes, filled with the majesty of the King of Beasts. Chapter 354 Victory. It swelled to a height of more than 10 meters, with all the hair all over his body, and his muscles knotted. With a roar from the tiger, Douluo took the lead, and charged towards the Netherworld White Tiger with a stride, and even took the lead. Compared with the illusory Netherworld White Tiger, Douluo's body was much stronger, and looked more intimidating. Roar. The Nether White Tiger on the opposite side was not to be outdone, landing on all fours, leaping with a tiger leap, and attacking boldly without any fear. Boom, or thunderous collision sounded, and Netherworld White Tiger and Douluo each took 2 or 3 steps back, and for a while, they were evenly matched. Hey, that's enough energy, come on, continue. Douluo shouted excitedly, and his body rushed out again, like a demon god. Davis and Zhu teamed up to use the spirit fusion technique, and they were able to hold on to Douluo's attack for the time being. But the rest of the Star Luo Royal Academy suffered. Among the remaining 5, the auxiliary spirit masters whose spirit power was still at the level of spirit master were eliminated by Zhu King at the first time. Among the remaining 4, there are 2 attack type spirit masters, and the other 2 are defense type spirit masters. Although these people's strength is not bad, they are far behind Zhu King. Zhu King is now 54th level agility attack type soul sect. After a while, The opportunity was seized, and one person was eliminated again. In the end, the three of them were back to back. The sweat on their faces did not flow out like money, and their eyes were full of tension and fear. Zhu King's speed was too fast, and in their eyes, Zhu King came and went without a trace, and there was only a slight pause when she attacked. Unfortunately, trying to block Zhu King's attack was too exhausting. In the arena, Zhu King was like a cat teasing a mouse, full of patience, and he was always ready for a fatal blow. What? They collapsed. In this tense atmosphere, they could be fatally attacked by Zhu King at any time. The key was that they couldn't even capture the enemy's shadow. A short-statured attack-type spirit master couldn't hold on at first. He shouted loudly, waved his hands indiscriminately, and his powerful spirit abilities were released indiscriminately. The action of the little soul master was like a signal, and the other two also gritted their teeth and sent out their strongest spirit ring skills. Unfortunately, the struggle was in vain, and when the attack was over, it was time for them to be out. As Zhu King completed the cleaning, the battle between Damu Bei and Davis Zhu also came to an end. Although the nether white tiger formed by the fusion of the two is powerful, the premise of its power is to consume a lot of soul power. Their spirit power, even if added together, is not as strong as Damu Bei. After the fierce collision, the phantom of the netherworld white tiger gradually became transparent, revealing the embarrassed look on his face and the half-conscious Zhu white tiger destroyed and killed. Seeing that the two of them could no longer hold on, Damu Bei not only did not stop, but instead used his most powerful spirit ability. He has never forgotten the humiliation that Davis gave him before. Dazzling golden rays of light condensed on Damu Bei's body. Damu Bei's figure appeared continuously around the netherworld white tiger, and every time it appeared, was accompanied by a dazzling golden light. Boom. The rich golden rays of light are instantly linked together to form a huge killing character. PFFT. The shadow of the ghostly white tiger was instantly shattered, and Davis and Zhu were thrown out of the ring like dead dogs on the ring. Zhu King watched this scene silently. His eyes gradually became empty, as if he had let go of a huge burden. Damu Bei raised his arms silently, waiting for the cheers from the crowd. With the end of the battle, the audience under the stage finally came to their senses, and the harsh screams and shouts broke out instantly. Shrek, Shrek, Shrek must win. Damu Bei, white tiger with evil eyes, goddess, my ghost goddess. All kinds of whistling sounds came in like a tidal wave, one wave after another. The game is over. Shrek wins. The referee stepped onto the ring full of fear and announced with difficulty. Shrek Academy is so powerful, the golden generation of Spirit Hall is in trouble. Zhu King, congratulations, you are finally freed. Hu Jiu silently appeared on the ring, placing his hands on Zhu King's shoulders. Thank you, brother Jiu. Zhu King ignored everyone's gaze and embraced Hu Jiu's embrace, his face full of emotion. If there is no Hu Jiu, I'm afraid that she will not have the current strength Hu Jiu has given her what she is today. If it wasn't in the ring, I'm afraid Zhu King would have used his own way to thank him on the spot after being moved. But it's not too late. Zhu King thought to himself. The moment Hu Jiu hugged Zhu King, in the audience, the representative of the Star Luo Empire looked at this scene with an ugly expression. Even when Davis and Zhu lost the game just now, his expression was not so ugly. Zhu King was the fiancé of the third prince, so how could he allow others to get in the way? Even though he didn't take Damu Bei seriously before. But it was different now. Damu Bei's becoming a Soul Emperor was enough to prove his talent. If this news spread back to the Empire, most of Davis' supporters would immediately disappear and support Damu Bei. The battle for the heir to the throne has become clear at this moment. Damu Bei's strength made his fiancé Zhu King appear important. Now that Zhu King was thrown into the arms of a strange man, it was strange that the representative of the Star Luo Empire had a good looking face. It's a pity that this is the site of the Spirit Hall, otherwise he would have to make Hu Jiu look good. Just after getting off the ring, after meeting with Tang San and the others, a group of people walked towards them. Feeling the gaze being watched, Tang San looked up, only to see the people from the Heaven Dao Imperial Academy. The one who took the lead was Yu Xianheng, who hadn't seen him for a long time, with Du Gubo's granddaughter Du Guan beside him. I didn't expect to see you for more than a year. You've become so powerful. I'm really surprised. Yu Xianheng stared at Tang San. Although Tang San didn't take the stage, Yu Xianheng was sure that his strength will definitely not be weaker than Dame Yu Bei, who just came to power. You guys are also very good. It can be seen that your strength has also improved a lot. Tang San smiled indifferently and responded politely. Our next opponent is the Wuhan Academy team. We will never be able to beat this one. If possible, remember to avenge us. No matter what, we are all from the Heaven Dao Empire, even if it is for the Empire. To achieve the glory, we must do our best. Yu Xianheng sighed. His aura was low, as if he had no confidence in the opponent he was about to face. Tang San was stunned. In his mind, Yu Xianheng was always invincible. With such a proud temperament, he didn't even have the courage to fight the Spirit Academy. Could it be that the Spirit Academy team is really that strong? Haha, Yu Xianheng, I didn't expect you to lose even the most important confidence. Let's go. You don't deserve to talk to me. Tang San waved his hand, his face indifferent. Chapter 355 The Golden Generation appears. Tang San, what kind of thing are you? Why do you say that about my brother Xianheng? Du Guan rushed towards Tang San angrily. If Yu Xianheng hadn't stopped him in time, he would have staged a full martial arts show. Tang San, you're right. I have indeed lost the confidence to defeat the Spirit Academy team, but I won't give up. Even if I lose, I will bite a piece of meat off them. Yu Xianheng's eyes, the thunderlight suddenly appeared, and the momentum on his body suddenly became strong. The people of the Blow Lightning Tyrannosaurus Rex family are not cowards who will be defeated without a fight. I advise you to admit defeat in advance. For Tang San's sake, let me tell you a piece of news for free. There are 3 Soul Kings and 4 Soul Sects in the Wuhan Academy team. Please ask for more blessings. Hu Jiu hugged Zhu Zuking and said to Yu Xianheng with a smile. What? Yu Xianheng's eyes narrowed. He had never heard of this news. Because among the first 2 appearances of the Spirit Academy, there were no Spirit Masters above the Spirit Sect at all. They hide their strength? Du Guan also reacted, looking at Hu Jiu with a horrified expression, as if to confirm whether what he said was true. However, Yu Xianheng did not have the slightest doubt. He bowed to Hu Jiu with a solemn face. Thank you for letting us know this news. We will be careful later. Well, let's go. It's time for you to play. Hu Jiu waved his hands and didn't care. He didn't want to have too much contact with Yu Xianheng. After all, he killed his uncle. Although no one knows about this, but seeing Yu Xianheng's honest face, he always felt a little sorry in his heart. The previous 2 vs 7 battle made the audience addicted to the audience. Now the second match is about to begin. The Xiandao Royal Academy team, the second of the 3 seeded teams, will play against the Wuhan Academy team. The battle between the 2 seed teams made everyone look forward to the next battle even more. When Yu Xianheng and the others stood on the ring, watching the Spirit Academy team slowly approaching them, they couldn't help but set their sights on the 3 unfamiliar Spirit Masters who took the lead. These 3 faces are very unfamiliar, and they have never appeared in the previous battles, but judging from the invincible aura and strong pressure emerging from the 3, they should be the 3 Soul Kings that Hu Jiu mentioned. Walking at the front of the team was a black-haired man who was more than 1.9 meters tall. Keegan's black hair stood up like a steel needle, and his face was full of determination and determination. When he and Yu Xianheng looked into each other's eyes, huge pressure hit. At this moment, Yu Xianheng only felt that the sky was darkening, and his eyes were covered with a layer of shadows. Next to the black-haired man, stood a man and a woman. The man had fiery red hair and dark red eyes like a flame troll. The other half of the black-haired man has a girl who looks somewhat similar to him. The girl has long black hair, and just standing there makes people feel an invisible charm that makes people unable to move their eyes. These 3 people are the Golden Generation launched by Wuhan Temple. The tallest one in the middle is called Xiu. Wuhan has 2 moon blades, and his soul power is 52. The red-haired one is called Yan. Wuhan is the Flame Lord, and his soul power is 52. It's also level 52. but neither of them are important. It's the pretty girl who needs to be paid attention to. Under the stage, Hu Jiu was explaining the information about the Spirit Academy team to Tang San and the others. Why should you pay attention to that girl? Could it be that you like her? Wu put the arm that hugged Hu Jiu's arm around her waist, showing two small tiger teeth at the corner of her mouth, with a cute look on her face. Nonsense, I'm not that kind of person. I'm reminding Xiaozhen. Hu Jiu calmly grabbed Wu's arm and played with it carefully. Oh. Tang San looked at Hu Jiu with a smile. He didn't take the blame. Hey, little San, don't underestimate her. She is a control type soul master just like you, and her martial spirit is also very special. Don't think that your level is higher than her. You might accidentally follow her way. Hu Jiu looked at Tang San jokingly, but was thinking in his heart, without this little dance, would he have a spark of love with Hulina in the future? Tell me. Upon hearing that she was also a control type spirit master, Tang San instantly became interested and unexpectedly asked Hu Jiu. Her name is Hulina. She is Ziyu's younger sister. Her martial soul is a fox, and her soul skill is mainly charm. When her charm ability is used, ordinary people have no idea of making a move in front of her. Charming. I want to try it. Is it her strong ability to charm, or mine? Before Tang San could react, Wu was not convinced. If you meet them, don't talk to me. Rob, she's mine now. Hu Jiu patted his forehead in distress. Originally, he planned to leave Hulina to Tang San, but Wu stepped in. This happened while Hu Jiu and the others were talking. There was already a fight in the ring point. I saw Hulina on the stage moving lightly, swaying her plump buttocks, and came to the front of the team. With the release of her martial arts, her body exuded an amazing charm, and even her appearance instantly became coquettish, with a fluffy hair. The big tail swayed randomly behind him, causing Mahanjan's saliva to flow out of the audience. Beautiful, so beautiful. If I can marry her back home, I'd be willing to reduce my lifespan by 10 years. Mahanjan said, sucking in his saliva. PFFT. Damn fat man, what are you thinking about? It's weird that people like you just like you. Oscar mocked. Sister, who are you talking about? I'm a phoenix, and she's a fox. We are just a match made in heaven, so why don't you look down on me? Mahanjan rolled up his sleeves in dissatisfaction. Haha. Oscar gave him a look and let him experience it for himself. Don't look her in the eyes. Yu Xianheng shouted loudly in the ring. In front of Hulina's charming soul ability, his spirit ability was interrupted several times, and he couldn't even perform the most basic release spirit ability. Oh. Do you think you'll be fine if you don't look at your eyes, naive? Hulina's voice was hoarse, but there was a different kind of charm in this hoarseness. After she said these words, the opposite the Heavendao Royal Academy seemed to have been immobilized, and they were all frozen in place, motionless. Next, the spirit rings under Hulina's feet began to flicker strangely, starting from the 5th spirit ring on the outermost periphery, and lighting up in sequence. With the fluctuation of each spirit ring, the pink light on her body became thicker, and then even more. The figures are all wrapped up, so that outsiders can see it looming point at this moment. Ziyu, who was behind her, also moved, and saw that he opened his hands, and his body bumped into Hulina. On the way to the collision, his body became illusory, and finally he was with Hulina integrated. Martial spirit fusion skill. Tang San cried out in surprise when he saw this scene. Yeah, I didn't expect this brother and sister to actually use a martial arts fusion skill. Hu Jiu raised his brows, his eyes full of playful eyes in terms of understanding of martial arts fusion skills. He is an expert. After using martial arts fusion skills, the two sides of the fusion will naturally communicate with each other. With the increase of the number of uses, he can also subtly increase the feelings of both parties. This Chapter 356 Finals. The relationship between this brother and sister is pretty good. Hu Jiu could only comment on this. What's wrong with people's deep feelings? Is it getting in your way? Wu said yin and yang strangely point ever since she noticed that Hu Jiu often spends the night in Zhu's Yuking's room. Wu's grievance has grown more than a day. After all, she was the one who came first. I didn't expect that a big cat would steal the melon after so long. Point. Even if she is generous, Some resentment in her heart is inevitable. Hu Jiu also knew about this, so he had to suffer. In fact, with his perception ability, he could have been fooling this Xiao Wu all the time without knowing it, but Hu Jiu felt that she was too sorry for this, so she just let her find out. Otherwise it wouldn't be out now. After all, as a man, you have to be daring to do what you do. Although it was the big cat who took the initiative at the time, he didn't refuse it at the time. On the ring, a strong red light flickered, and Ziyu and Hu now emerged into a long-haired figure indistinguishable from male and female. This figure held an enlarged version of the Moonblade, and as soon as it appeared, it suppressed the audience, making Yu Xianheng and others unable to even think of resistance. Under the overwhelming pink light, they had long been charmed and lost their way. Ziyu and Hu Lina's martial arts fusion skills are called Yaomi. Yaomi is mainly controlled. Within the control range of Yaomi skills, everyone's senses will be reduced by 50%, and their soul power will be suppressed 50%. 50% lag in all actions. Pink rays of light permeated the arena, and the strong soul power fluctuations spread out, covering the entire arena. From the outside, only a red cloud could be seen, and the situation inside could not be seen at all. Bang bang bang. With a groan of pain, one after another figure was thrown off the ring. Blood splattered. Yu Xianheng, Du Guan and others only felt a dazzling effort. Their bodies had already flew out of the ring, and they didn't even know how they lost. The strong pink light dissipated, revealing the figure inside, but at this time Ziyu and Hu Lina had already released the fusion of martial arts and became two people again. Ziyu held the Moonblade in both hands, looked at Shrek, raised her right hand, touched her neck, and made a killing gesture. Humph. Hu Jiu snorted coldly, and the invisible sound exploded in his mind, causing Ziyu to take a few steps back involuntarily. With a horrified light on his face, Lina stretched out her hand to support Ziyu and looked towards them with a solemn expression. Hu Jiu stretched out his thumb and compared it in the direction of Ziyu, and then made an insulting gesture with his thumb down. The little Soul King actually dared to provoke Master Soul Saint. He didn't know whether to live or die. With the referee's announcement, the third round of the competition was over. There were still 6 teams remaining in the competition, but the Xiandao Royal Academy and Xingluo Royal Academy, which were called seed players, were eliminated tragically. Hu Jiu hopes to meet the Spirit Academy team tomorrow and teach them a lesson. But this is already a matter of tomorrow, and the opponent can be decided by drawing lots after dinner. Shrek returned to their respective residences. Hu Jiu was about to practice his soul skills when there was a knock on the door. After sweeping through his perception ability, he found that it was Zhu King outside the door. The corners of Hu Jiu's mouth twitched. He didn't expect the big cat to find him so impatiently. It seems that he can unlock a new pose today. Opening the door, Hu Jiu met Zhu King, who had hot eyes. Before he could speak, his mouth was blocked. Zhu King's heels hooked on the door and closed it deftly. The 4th round of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Elite competition started on the 2nd day. The result of this draw is very strange, as the 3 strongest academy teams, Shrek Academy, Kamikaze Academy, and Wuhan Academy. After the lottery, the 3 academies did not meet each other. They each encountered a soy sauce college. How can there be such a coincidence in the world? Most of which is a reason why the Spirit Hall is playing tricks in this battle. Shrek Academy dispatched Damu Bei and Mahanjan. One of them was the 61st level Assault Type Battle Spirit Emperor, and the other was the 50th level Assault Type Battle Spirit King. Needless to say, their strengths were of course. As soon as they came to power, they started sweeping the field, and they solved their opponents in one face to face. At this point, the 4th round is over, and the top 3 are born. The final is about to begin, and the champion is in sight. Early the next morning, Hu Jiu and others gathered in the square in front of the Pope's palace to compete for the championship game in the finals, and the venue of the game was also changed. The splendid Pope's palace is even more powerful under the sunlight. 2 rows of Templar knights are lined up from both sides in front of the Pope's palace to the bottom of the mountain. The bright golden armor and the wide knight's sword are neatly arranged. May 1st no longer shows the majesty of the Pope's temple. Not everyone can come to the Pope's hall. In front of the Pope's hall, in addition to Shrek Academy, Kamikaze Academy, and Spirit Academy. There are a total of 21 contestants, and even the leading teacher of the academy. No right to stand here. And those academies that failed in the battle were already eliminated and went home, and they didn't even have the qualifications to watch the battle. On Shrek's side, there were Hu Jiu, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zuking, Tang San, Damu Bei, Mahanjan and Ning Rangrong, while the rest of Oscar, Meng Yang Lion, Tai Long and Jiang's who did not participate will be waiting on the perimeter for news of their victory point. After waiting for a moment, the 12 red robe bishops in red robes slowly walked out of the spirit hall first. They walked all the way to the door of the spirit hall, standing on each side, 6 on each side. The leader shouted loudly, "His Majesty the Pope is here. Long live, long live, long live." In an instant, a tsunami-like cry sounded, and the entire Pope Hill was filled with the cry of the Templar Knights. What a big battle. Even the well-informed Hu Jiu had never seen such a spectacular scene. Following the voice of respectful invitation, a majestic voice slowly appeared in front of everyone from the spirit hall. Hu Jiu's eyes flashed, and he looked forward carefully. Bibi Dang, this is a legendary woman. The first thing that catches the eye is a long golden dress. The dazzling dress is shining brightly, and there are more than 100 red, blue, and gold gemstones on it. The purple gold crown on the top of the head is even more glorious. All the light condensed at this moment is only on her body. Bibi Dang's tall and slender figure was hidden in a gorgeous dress, and her whole person was full of grace and luxury. Her smooth long hair was pulled up high, and looked extremely capable. Under her swan-like jade neck was a sexy collarbone. If you ignored Bibi Dang's serious expression, you could see that she was a beautiful woman. Pity, Hu Jiu shook his head secretly. Because of Xiao Wu, they are destined to be enemies. Don't forget, Xiao Wu's mother died at the hands of Bibi Dang, and even if Hu Jiu was a jerk, he wouldn't make Xiao Wu sad and embarrassed. Chapter 357, Bibi Dong and -039, S recruitment. Perhaps Hu Jiu's eyes were too bold, and Bibi Dang on the stage gave him a knowing look. When her eyes were focused on Hu Jiu only felt his body tremble slightly, as if Bibi Dang's eyes contained infinite stars, which kept magnifying in his eyes, making people sink. Clang. In the sea of knowledge, the nether soul requiring bell was automatically and without wind, and a crisp bell, accompanied by sound waves like the breeze, woke Hu Jiu from the absent state. Just one look was so powerful, Hu Jiu almost shivered, and it was only at this moment that he truly understood the power of the title Douluo. But maybe it's not just a title Douluo, but also a rank 99th limit Douluo. It's just that Bibi Dang's strength is too strong, and the gap between Hu Jiu and her is too big. Even if she uses her perceptual ability with all her strength, she still does not perceive Bibi Dang's strength. Seeing that Hu Jiu had sobered up from her eyes so quickly, Bibi Dang's eyes flashed with surprise, and she seemed to be interested in him. See, His Majesty the Pope. The moment Bibi Dang stopped, all the people who belonged to the spirit hall knelt down on one knee at this moment, paying their highest respect to Bibi Dang with a look of admiration. The Spirit Academy, that also stood with them, including the Kamikaze Academy, all knelt down and bowed. The only people standing at the scene were the 7 people from Shrek. As the third prince of the Star Luo Empire, Damu Bei didn't have the habit of bowing down to others, and others worshipped him just as well. Naturally, Tang San didn't need to say that. He almost understood that his mother died at the hands of Wu Hundian, so it was very rational to be able to hold his breath. Beside Tang San, Hu Jiu held Xiao Wu's hand tightly, her eyes flat, looking at Xiao Wu with concern. On the other hand, Xiao Wu lowered her head, her body trembled slightly, her eyes were trying her best to hide her hatred. Needless to say, Ning Rangrang was the little princess of the 7 treasure glazed tile school, and she didn't want to bow down to anyone. Each of the 7 of them is a monster level genius, and sooner or later they will reach the level of a titled Douluo. One Bibi Dang is not worthy of their kneeling. Everyone else bowed, but Hu Jiu and the others didn't. This unique behavior immediately angered others. Presumptuous, dare to disrespect His Majesty the Pope, damn it. A cardinal standing in front of the Pope's palace shouted angrily, "Ha! When did your spirit hall change the rules? The Pope belongs to you, not mine. It's your business if you are willing to kneel. It's none of my business. Hu Jiu. Hu Jiu raised his head with an impassioned expression on his face. Loudly he said, I, Hu Jiu, kneel down on my knees and kneel to my parents. I would rather live on my feet than die on my knees. If you have the ability, come and beat me. The cardinal was robbed by Hu Jiu, so angry that he couldn't even utter a word. Hu Jiu was indeed right. Their spirit hall did not clearly stipulate that they need to kneel to see the Pope, but Hu Jiu and the others were too unique and alone. They all kneeled, so why don't you kneel? Hu Jiu, right. I know your name. You became a food soul master in Douluo continent at the age of 15. You are the only one. You are very good. Are you interested in coming to my martial arts? Doing things in the temple, I grant you the position of elder. Bibi Dong raised her hand slightly, motioning for the cardinal to stop. As soon as Bibi Dong said these words, the audience instantly burst into an uproar. This Hu Jiu was actually a soul saint, and it was the most difficult food type to cultivate. Soul saints are not uncommon, and food type soul saints are not uncommon. The key is the age of 15 years old, and no one dares to underestimate this. How genius is this? Just the fact that Dame Yubei showed a Soul Emperor level cultivation in the previous competition had shocked everyone, but he didn't expect that there would be a more powerful one. This is a Soul Saint, a realm that 99% of the Soul Masters in Douluo continent would never reach in their entire lifetime. Jealousy, envy, or, in just an instant, Hu Jiu's image became taller in the eyes of everyone. After Hu Jiu cultivated to become a soul saint, in a few years, wouldn't he be able to become a soul Douluo, or even a title Douluo? As soon as Bibi Dong's words came out, the complexion of Zuking, who was sitting on the VIP seat, changed instantly, turning pale in an instant, and there was even more hatred in his eyes. Damn, this is robbing her. Bibi Dong even knew Hu Jiu's level of cultivation, so she didn't believe that she didn't know that Hu Jiu was the offering she recruited. His Majesty the Pope has praised him wrongly. He is already a subordinate of the first prince of the Heaven Dao Empire. I'm afraid I can only thank His Majesty the Pope for his love. Hu Jiu said neither humbly nor arrogantly, and took out Kan Ringsu as a shield. By the way, anyway, you are a mother and daughter. Who are you not with? Although the relationship between mother and daughter is not very good. Haha. Hu Jiu's refusal only made Bibi Dong smile lightly, as if she was not recruiting people just now. Then she looked at Tang San beside Hu Jiu, stared at him and said, you are the master's disciple. Tang San. Tang San was startled by Bibi Dong's words. Since he went to Heaven Dao City, he has never mentioned the name Grand Master again. After all, his relationship with Hu Jiu was not very good at the beginning, and it turned out that such a thing was even more difficult for Bibi Dong. If you can find out, this kind of intelligence ability is very powerful. Yes, Your Majesty the Pope. Do you know my teacher? Tang San asked curiously. He hadn't seen the teacher for a long time, and he missed him very much. No, your teacher is very talented. By the way, where is your teacher? Bibi Dong's expression was gentle, and in this question and answer, she actually had a homely feeling. Bitch, Bibi Dong is a dead bastard. I knew that she must still be thinking about him. In the outer audience stage, Liu Erlang was cursing Bibi Dong fiercely, but then she remembered and looked up to Flender next to him. Tang San is his disciple. Why don't I know about this? This is a long story. I'll tell you later, when I get back. Flender grimaced, not knowing how to explain it. This damn Bibi Dong, what's not good to ask, but ask the master. Idle nothing to do. Flender looked at Bibi Dong in the distance with a resentful expression. I haven't seen the teacher for several years, and I don't know where he is. Tang San shook his head, indicating that he didn't know where the master was either. No, he is buried in the Great Stardao Forest. Hu Jiu, who was beside him, said secretly, this master is also very powerful. Even after he has been dead for so long, there are still people who remember him. I have to say that he is still very good at it. Seeing that Tang San didn't know the master's trace, the disappointment on Bibi Dong's face disappeared in a flash. Then waving his scepter, his voice resounded in the ears of countless people. B flat, knowing that at this time, Whoever was kneeling stood up point because of Hu Jiu's spirit power and Bibi Dong's gentle expression towards Tang San. Everyone looked at Shrek with amazement and then speculated whether there was anyone among them hiding their strength. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358 Xiao Wu appears. A smile appeared on Bibi Dong's beautiful face, and her eyes swept over Hu Jiu and other 21 contestants. From you, I see the hope of the Soul Master world. I hope that you will use your full strength to compete for the championship of the finals this time. The winner will be awarded by me personally. When he said that he had used all his strength, Bibi Dong's eyes turned to the Shrek 7. The implications are self-evident. According to the information she received, Shrek Academy's strength is not as simple as it appears. Bibi Dong's words made everyone look at the 7 Shrek people in shock. What's going on? Are they really hiding their strength? But obviously, now is not the time to pay attention to this, because as soon as Bibi Dong's voice fell, everyone's eyes were instantly attracted by what was in front of her. I don't know what method Bibi Dong used, but when she waved her hand, 3 dazzling light spots appeared in front of her. The light spot rose in the wind, and as the light dissipated, their true appearance was finally revealed in front of everyone. These are 3 different shapes of spirit bones. From the shape, it can be seen that the 3 spirit bones are a right arm bone, a skull bone, and a left leg bone. The 3 spirit bones shone with red, blue, and green light respectively. A dazzling light bloomed on the soul bone, and at this moment, the entire Wuhan hall was completely boiled. These are spirit bones. Judging from the light shining on the 3 spirit bones, they are all of excellent quality. Even the red-clothed bishops and platinum bishops of the spirit hall have greedy radiance on their faces. Spirit bones are very rare things. If these spirit bones hadn't been in Bibi Dong's hands, the place would have been in chaos long ago. Ghost Douluo behind the Pope said, these 3 spirit bones are the brain of wisdom for spiritual cohesion, the right arm for bursting and burning flames, and the left leg for chasing the wind. They are all over 10,000 years old. Among them, the wisdom skull comes from a 50,000-year-old soul beast, which was personally captured by His Majesty the Pope of the previous generation, and it is the best among the soul bones, except for the attached soul bones and the 100,000-year-old soul bones. Ghost Douluo's explanation made Hu Jiu secretly sneer. It's just a 10,000-year spirit bone. If you have the ability to take out a 100,000-year spirit bone, there are only 3 soul bones, and only the champion can survive. I hope you 3 teams can use all your strength to compete, and don't live up to my expectations. Bibi Dong looked at Xiu and the 3 of them with encouragement in their eyes. These 3 spirit bones were specially prepared by her for the golden generation. Originally, she planned to reward them directly, but the elders did not agree. In the end, they had no choice but to come up with a compromise solution. Taking out the spirit bones as a reward for the competition. I thought that the championship of the competition would be easy for the golden generation, but who would have thought that a Shrek would appear, and each of these people was more talented than her golden generation. If it weren't for the fact that the championship's reward had been released in advance, she would not be willing to go back on her word. Maybe she would have replaced the reward with something else. Under the stimulation of the spirit bone reward, not to mention the 21 who participated in the competition. Even those who did not participate in the competition all had fiery eyes, and it was me who wished to participate in the competition. And the 21 who participated in the competition were even more like fighting chickens. Their whole body was full of fighting spirit, and the eyes that looked at Shrek were full of hostility. Whether it was the Spirit Academy or the Kamikaze Academy, the fear of Shrek had risen to the greatest extent. At present, Shrek has exposed a Soul Saint, a Soul Emperor, and a Soul King. God knows how much power these old Yunbi hide. The strong are self-improving, and the weak are in a group. There is no need to discuss in advance. The Spirit Academy and the Kamikaze Academy are vaguely close to each other, sharing the pressure that Shrek brings to them. Bibi Dong looked up at the 3 participating teams and said in a flat voice, "This morning, you will participate in the individual competition, and tomorrow you will directly enter the championship competition. In the afternoon, the 2 teams that fail will compete for another place in the final." Well, now we can start. You go get ready. Why? Is it all in the finals and the individual competition? Is she targeting brother 9th? Mahanjan muttered in a low voice. What are you afraid of? The individual competition will be the individual competition. I will play first later. As long as he dares to appear on stage, I will make him unable to participate in the competition tomorrow. Damubei said coldly, "No, I'll come first in the individual competition later, so that they won't be able to get on stage. I'm the best at it." Xiao Wu exuded a fierce aura. Obviously, seeing Bibi Dong, the murderer of her mother, made her impatient. Want to vent? Don't rob me of anyone. Xiao Wu's warning made everyone stunned. Even Tang San didn't want to get in trouble at this time. They don't want to experience the power of the 8 dan fall. Okay, then you can go. Remember to strike lightly. Don't kill people, or you can't tell. Hu Jiu said, while rubbing Xiao Wu's head. Yeah. Xiao Wu clenched her fist, her eyes glowing with a chilling light. Unlike the individual competition during the promotion round, this time the individual competition was played by 3 teams. The order of appearances is determined by drawing lots. The 2 academies will face off first, and the winner will continue the game, and so on. The game will alternate until one team wins the first. Xiao Wu had a good run, and it was drawn a bye, which meant that the first match would be between Wuhan Academy and Kamikaze Academy. However, something unexpected and natural happened. When Feng Xiaoshan from Kamikaze Academy and a member of Spirit Academy came to the center of the ring, the Spirit Academy member turned around and bowed to Bibi Dong, and then he said respectfully, "His Majesty the Pope, I abstain from this match." As soon as the word abstention came out, the spectators were instantly confused. Pope Bibi Dong personally presided over this game. It is a great honor to be able to show his strength in front of the Pope. Who would have thought that someone would abstain from voting, and this person is still the Spirit Academy of Spirit Hall. For such a request, the referee was stunned for a moment, and then, with a nod from Bibi Dong, announced that Feng Xiaoshan of Kamikaze Academy had won the competition. It looks like we were attacked together. Hu Jiu looked at the proud Spirit Academy and the Kamikaze Academy, who was too ashamed to look down. In the face of absolute strength, any strategy is useless. Hopefully they will have someone standing up for tomorrow's final. It's my turn. My name is Xiao Wu, Dancing Wu, Wuhan Xiao Bei Rabbit, the 64th level agility attack type Battle Soul Emperor. Please advise. At the moment of announcing Feng Xiaoshan's victory, Xiao Wu jumped onto the ring without waiting for the referee to preside over, and began to introduce herself with a cute look on her face. 6th, 64th. Feng Xiaoshan stammered at Xiao Wu, only to feel that the cute little dance in front of him seemed to be a demon in disguise, and even stuttered. Chapter 359 Decisive Battle. Are you really level 64? Feng Xiaoshan stammered and asked Xiao Wu. Of course, this can be fake. If you don't believe me, look at it. Xiao Wu quickly completed the possession of her spirit, and the 6 spirit rings under her feet slowly rhythm. 2 yellow, 2 purple, 2 black. A few bright spirit rings lay under his feet, and there was no possibility of cheating. What else is there to play? Feng Xiaoshan was about to cry. He thought that Damubei didn't play, and only sent a little girl. He thought he had earned it, and at least he could hold on for a few more games. This is also a monster. Others are level 64. He is only level 44. What a shit. I admit defeat. She's a real battle spirit master, and she's also in the agility department. With her speed, I'm afraid that, if you really fight, you won't even be able to see her shadow. Thinking of this, Feng Xiaoshan is no longer tangled. Who is willing to fight in this fight? Anyway, he has admitted defeat. Shen, I didn't expect you, a big man, to be as weak as a girl. Can't you stay on stage to consume some of my soul power? Hearing Feng Xiaoshan admit defeat, Xiao Wu's face instantly changed, and she looked at him with contempt. She didn't come to the court to watch others admit defeat. She just wanted to find a sandbag to vent her sullenness. No, I'm sure to admit defeat. Referee, hurry up to announce. Didn't you hear me say admit defeat? Hearing Xiao Wu say this, Feng Xiaoshan was even more sure that his choice was correct. Without giving Xiao Wu a chance to make a move, she hurriedly urged the referee to announce the result of the match. Haha, Sister Wu is so mighty, she has stunned that guy Feng Xiaoshan before she can make a move. It's amazing. Mahanjan raised his hands and shouted excitedly, of course, otherwise I can be your little sister? Ning Rangran cast a disdainful glance at Mahanjan and said point at this time. The referee on the stage stepped onto the ring with a helpless expression and all Shrek Xiao won. Who else? Xiao Wu raised her chin and hooked her finger to Hulina of Spirit Academy with a proud face. Damn, Nana, I'll go up and teach her a lesson for you. Hulina couldn't hold back her licking the dog and she was ready to go on stage to show Xiao Wu a look. Don't go, you can't fight. Hulina raised her arm to stop Yan's movements. If you can't beat me, I will beat her. I will kill her and me. Yan said with a face of dissatisfaction, his face flushed point being so bluntly said by the girl he loves. Can't beat a little girl, it doesn't give him face at all. Sister is right, we shouldn't waste our strength on individual competitions. Don't forget, tomorrow's finals are the most important thing in the world. Ziyu gave Xiao Wu a cold look, and a hint of caution flashed in her eyes. One Soul Emperor is not scary. What is scary is two Soul Emperors, and this is just Shrek showing them to see. God knows how much power they are hiding point. If you spend all your fighting power in the individual competition today, then there is really no hope for the final champion. Next, a strange scene happened. Every one of Xiao Wu's next opponents abstained after showing up, not giving Xiao Wu any chance to make a move. Damn, does no one really dare to fight against me? Am I so scary? This scene made Xiao Wu begin to doubt her life. The game in the morning ended in such a funny way. Xiao Wu appeared on the stage alone and directly asked all the people from the two major colleges to give up the competition for the individual championship and began to compete for another finals place in the afternoon. There are no exceptions. For Spirit Academy, Kamikaze Academy is not a threat to them at all. Although Kamikaze Academy took advantage of it to let Huo Wu and Huo Washang from Blazing Academy join the team, so that all members of the team have reached level 40 above. But this was still not enough for the Spirit Academy, which had 3 Spirit Kings above the rank of 50. It was only Yan who swept the Kamikaze Academy, and whether it was Feng Xiaoshan or Huo Wu, they were easily resolved by him. The top martial soul flame lord is indeed very powerful. However, Hu Jiu didn't think that such strength was a big deal. He was looking forward to how everyone would react when they announced their grades tomorrow. In the Spirit Hall, Ziyu, Hulina, and Yan, the three respectfully looked at Bibidang, who had a powerful aura on the stage. Tomorrow is the final. Although I don't want to say it, but Shrek is indeed very powerful. I can tell you their level in advance. Hu Jiu is a soul saint. You don't have to worry too much about this. Although he is a soul saint, but it is food. Yes, on the battlefield, his performance may be very amazing, but his role in the game is not very big. Bibidang's words gave Hulina and the three a reassurance point, but her next words made their faces look ugly. Bibidang said, in the Shrek team, apart from Xiao Wu and a new Bei who are Soul Emperors, so is Tang San. The 3 of them are the people you should pay attention to tomorrow. Besides that, the rest are all the same Soul Kings as you. Alas, forget it, you can go back. After this battle, go to the Lost Grand Canyon to practice for 3 years. In the end, Bibidang herself was said to have no confidence. Heartache. These are the 3 spirit bones that she carefully selected for the golden generation. If they lose the game, these spirit bones will not be recovered. Lost Canyon. When Hulina and the 3 heard the name, they all shuddered. If they go to that ghost place, I'm afraid that they will also become ghosts by then, or I'll kill them tonight. For me, it's completely possible to assassinate them without anyone noticing, and no one will find out. Gui Mei suddenly said sullenly, HMPH, are you a pig's brain? Don't say whether you have the ability to assassinate them. Even if it is successful, how do you ask me to explain to the world? If they have a problem at this time, as long as they have a normal brain, they will know that we did it. Oh, let alone this is Wuhan City. If something goes wrong with them, who would dare to trust us in the future? Yu Guan snorted and looked at the ghost with disdain. Okay, don't make any noise. It's just 3 soul bones. To a spirit hall, it's nothing. Okay, let's go down. And let me be quiet. Bibi Dong hit impatiently. Cut them off and wave them away. Yes, when Bibi Dong spoke, not only did Hulina respectfully saluted and left, but even Ghost Douluo and Hu Jiu didn't dare to say more, so they obediently backed out. After a night of silence, Hu Jiu and the others appeared at the door full of energy the next morning, waiting to set off. Children, for you, today's final battle, no matter what the result is, I hope you can be safe. The championship is not important, but you are more important. Don't be carried away by the victory. Rand was rarely serious, and looked at them with a sigh. He didn't know whether it was right or wrong to bring these children to participate in the Spirit Master competition. Chapter 360. Boss Fern, it's almost time, the kids should set off. Zhao Walqi interrupted Flender's sensational performance, and all of them have reached the finals. Instead of caring about the kids, it's better to prepare early to avoid winning. After winning the championship, Wuhan Temple became angry and took revenge. You must know that the reward for the champion of the final is 3 soul bones, a precious thing that even his heart is moved. When the champions come down, I'm afraid there will be countless pairs of eyes staring at them. As for whether he can win or not, it is not in his consideration at all. The strength of the Wuhan Academy team and their Shrek team is not at the same level. Yes, then let's go. This man is getting old, and he is starting to feel sentimental. Flender quietly wiped his red eyes, smiled at himself, and his face returned to seriousness. He took the lead to the final venue. Set off with a loud shout. Everyone strutted, full of energy. On the street, countless soul masters watched them silently. By now, the 9 monsters of Shrek Academy had countless admirers, and no matter where they went, a group of people looked at them with bright eyes. They are the favorites for the championship, and it can even be said that they have already booked the championship position. Stepping to the Pope's Hall, Pope Bibi Dong, Ning Fengzi, Zuking, Ghost Douluo, Hu Jiu and others were already seated on the VIP seats, and the key rewards of the finals are clearly set aside, constantly emitting this strong fluctuation. The 7 Shrek people stared at the spirit bones with shining eyes, and they couldn't move their eyes. No one would dislike too many spirit bones. As the strongest person in the team, he must have one of these 3 spirit bones, and he has chosen which one to choose after the battle is over. Ziyu and the others from Spirit Academy had already arrived. When they saw Shrek and the others appear, their eyes burst with astonishing fighting intent. In this battle, they need to go all out. If they can't win, what awaits them will be a 3-year tour of the Ecstasy Grand Canyon. In order not to become ghosts, even if they knew that the chances of victory were slim, they had no choice but to fight. But it was indeed the contemptuous eyes of Hu Jiu and the others. To be honest, with their strength, they were really ignored. The finals of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy Elite Tournament is about to begin. The players from both sides are ready. After a quarter of an hour, the competition will begin. When all the people came, and the time was about the same, the referee came to the ring first. Spirit Academy and Shrek Academy both came to the ring, and the 2 sides stood opposite each other. Before the game started, the eyes of both sides were already intertwined. The smell of gunpowder was full, and the atmosphere gradually became stronger. Prepare for the game. Both sides released their martial arts. A quarter of an hour passed quickly, and the referee shouted, reminding both sides of the test. A total of 14 people from both sides, with the referee's order, each rose up and released their martial arts. The sky is shining, and the colorful bright light shines on the whole ring. On the Spirit Academy side, except for Ziyu, Hulina, and Yan, who were 5 ringed spirit masters, the others were all 4 ringed spirit masters. And Shrek's side is incredible. Tang San, Damu Bei, and Zhao Wu in the front were all 6 ringed spirit rings, with Ahyang, Erzi, and Ahi, Mahanjan, Zhu Zuking, and Ning Rangrang in the second row were also the best, with a 5 ring spirit ring. Hu Jiu, who was standing at the back, was even more incredible. Ahuang, Urzi, Sanhui, 7 spirit rings slowly rhythm under his feet, especially the 3 pitch black spirit rings, which blinded everyone's eyes of course. The color of this spirit ring was still disguised by him. If they were told that Hu Jiu's 7 spirit rings were actually all black, I'm afraid that, even if Tang Heo was secretly protecting him, he wouldn't be able to get out of the spirit hall point after all. Except for twin martial spirits, there has never been a situation where the 7 spirit rings are all 10,000 years old. Competition, start. Seeing that everyone was ready, the referee stretched his voice, and as the word start fell, all the players on both sides took action. Point on the Wuhan Academy's side. Hulina stood at the front of the team, the spirit rings on her body lit up one by one, and the pink light filled her body. With Hulina, she gradually melted in. Point at the beginning of the match, the two of them started their most powerful moves, the fusion of martial arts, the bewitching charm. Point at the same time, Yan stood alone at the front of the team, protecting Hulina and Xiaoyu. A strong fire burst out from his body, and the flames rose in the wind. In an instant, they grew to 5 meters away, covered by fiery flames. The body is like the resurrection of the Flame Lord. Haha, dare to play with fire in front of me, courting death. Mahanjan saw this scene, his eyes flashed instantly, and he couldn't wait to come to the front of the team. In the back, like a fire god. Point the two looked at each other for a split second, and neither would let them in. In the end, they shouted loudly, and charged towards each other at the same time. Good guy, Fatty can do this trick. He found his opponent so quickly. Hu Jiu threw out the rambunctious ginseng in a funny way. Mahanjan didn't need to guess this little thought. Little Sin, let's go too. This guy is a chicken thief, but he actually grabs monsters. Daimyu Bei shouted, and a rich golden light appeared from his body, and he rushed up without thinking. Zuking, let's go too. Rangrong, let's take action. Xiaowu laughed, her body flashed, and she had already appeared behind the Spirit Academy team. Point in this battle, they have no tactical arrangements. In the face of absolute strength, no amount of tactics will help. Since that's the case, let me help you solve this shemale first. Hu Jiu chuckled lightly, and his eyes radiated a strong light. Under the light, Hulina and Xiu only felt a flash in front of their eyes, and they came to an unfamiliar space in a blink of an eye. Point this space is pitch dark, without any light, not even the sound can come out, as if coming to a desperate space. Point silence, loneliness, all kinds of emotions flooded my heart in an instant, making people want to go crazy. Point in the outside world, everyone only saw that after Hulina and Xiu had just completed the fusion of their martial arts, their bodies remained rigid and did not move. Haha, cool. No one cared about Hulina and Xiu, except for Tang San, Ning Rangrong, and Hu Jiu, who had been standing still. The others had already found their opponents, and even their soul skills were useless, and they started to ravage their opponents with their bare hands. It is indeed an eating. Apart from Hulina and Xiu, there is only one Soul King who is above the 50th level, but this Soul King has been preempted by Mahanjan as an opponent, and the rest are not even at the Soul King level. In the face of Daimyu Bei, Xiaowu, and Zhu Zuking, how could they fight back? Point it was just a face-to-face, and before he even had time to use his soul skills, he had already lost the ability to resist. Chapter 361, BBDONG and -039, S recruitment again. Bang 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 bang, the 5 figures kept flying out of the ring one after another, leaving only Hulina and Xiu, the 2 brothers and sisters Wuhan, who were stunned and sluggish on the spot. Raw. At the critical moment, Yaomi didn't know how to break through Hu Jiu's fantasy space, and the whole person woke up. 2 moon blades appeared in his hands, and Yaomi's monstrous face was covered in blood, looking fiercely at Hu Jiu behind Tang San. Forcibly breaking open the space of illusion, the demon left the price of bloodshed from the 5 orifices. Kill. Yaomi let out an angry roar, and the 2 moon blades in her hands flew out into the air, killing Daimyu Bei and Mahanjan, who were attacking him. Boom. Facing the moon blade, Daimyu Bei activated the White Tiger Vajra transformation and the White Tiger Demon God transformation, and the hill-like tiger claws slammed out to meet one of the moon blades. Mahanjan was not to be outdone. A phoenix line of fire spewed out of his mouth on the spot. and he had a head-to-head confrontation with Moonblade Point. But Yaomo's core attack is not only this, as the Moonblade emits, a layer of pink light spreads out from him, instantly shrouding the two of them. Point under the pink light, Daemube and Mahanjin lost their attacking ability in an instant. Point at a critical moment, Tang San stepped out, stretched out his hand from a distance, and sent out two blue-silver grasses from his hand, finally pulling them back before the Moonblade attacked again. Admit defeat. Don't struggle. You have already lost. Hu Jiu raised his hand, and two rays of light shot out. The rays of light were as fast as shooting stars, and instantly knocked away the two Moonblades of Yaomo. Point that means, officially his flying knife stunt, HMPH. It's impossible. Even if I die today, I won't admit defeat. With a bewitching expression, she said stubbornly, then, go to die. I don't know when. Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking had come to Yaomo's side. Their hands shone with cold light, and the attacks on their hands were like phantoms, instantly leaving wounds on Yaomo's body. Blue, silver overlord spear, phoenix, meteor shower, white, tiger, destruction and kill, Tang San, Mahanjin, Daemube. The three made their own law at this time. Dazzling rays of light erupted in front of the three of them, and then engulfed the demons. Point boom. The attack of the three was comparable to that of the Soul Sage. The astonishing soul power fluctuations filled the entire arena. With a painful groan, the demon was actually beaten into a state of fusion of martial arts. The figures of Hulina and Ziyu were thrown into the air, and then crashed down, lying miserably on the ground. He didn't get up for a long time. Do you want to continue the fight? Xiao Wu came to Hulina with her hands on her hips and looked down. Okay, in this battle, Spirit Academy lost, and the winner, Shrek Academy. There was no suspense in the battle. Bibi Dong stood up very simply and announced the result for the referee. We won. The seven Shrek looked at each other. Although they knew they would definitely win, when the result was announced, it still felt like they were in a dream. We won. We defeated the Spirit Academy. We are the champions of the elite competition of the advanced Spirit Master Academies in the whole continent. Compared to Tang San and the others, Hu Jiu was not so excited, and saw him smilingly watching. The other people, who were so happy, secretly felt amused. Point with such a strong strength, I still care about this honor. The layout is small. Bibi Dong's gaze fell on the excited Shrek 7, and she announced flatly, the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy Elite Competition. The final champion is Shrek Academy. Although she really didn't want to give the prize to them, Bibi Dong still showed the bearing of a pope, holding the brocade with the soul bones in person, and walked slowly to the front desk. A representative of Shrek Academy, please come to the stage to accept the award. The cardinal, who was the referee, shouted loudly. Point at this moment, the seven Shrek looked at each other. Tang San and Daemube pushed Hu Jiu together, signaling him to come on stage to receive the reward. Hey, what do you mean? The junior is the captain. Okay. Even if the junior doesn't go, he should go with the boss. What if I go? Hu Jiu looked at them helplessly. Brother Jiu, you can go. You are our boss. Mahanjin urged. Without Hu Jiu, they would not be where they are today. Yes, hurry up. Don't let His Majesty the Pope wait. Tang San pushed Hu Jiu out again. Heh, I think you are lazy. Hu Jiu shook off Tang San and Daemube's hands angrily, and strode towards Bibi Dong. Point when Hu Jiu really walked in front of Bibi Dong, he realized that he underestimated Bibi Dong's beauty. Point with a noble and elegant temperament, and a calm expression on her face. All kinds of beautiful words seemed to be able to be used in her. Looking at Bibi Dong's face, Hu Jiu felt a heartbeat at this moment. What a hell! Point shaking his head sharply, Hu Jiu threw the distracting thoughts out of his head. Hu Jiu, you are outstanding. I'm officially inviting you now. Are you willing to join the Spirit Hall? Bibi Dong's eyes gleamed, and she looked at Hu Jiu with interest. Me? Hu Jiu was stunned for a moment, then looked up at the eldest prince, Zuking, or Khan Ringsu, who was behind Bibi Dong. This bitch is not a good person. It is obviously uneasy and good-hearted to recruit him at such a time of attention. Your Majesty, I'm afraid it's not good for you to do this. Hu Jiu is already enshrined in our Heaven Empire. I will accept your kindness for Hu Jiuxin. Let's forget about joining the Spirit Hall, Zuking said in black. Looking at Bibidong, Bibidong's hatred deepened. Knowing that Hu Jiu was her person, she actually solicited in front of her. This is a naked slap in the face. Oh. Bibidong gave Zuking a deep look, not knowing what she was thinking, but with a regretful look on her face, she said, if that's the case, then forget it, but if you stay in the Heaven Dao Empire someday, if you are unhappy, you can come to Wuhan Palace to find me. The door of Wuhan Palace is open for you at any time. Having said this, Bibidong handed the brocade plate containing the spirit bones to Hu Jiu. Thank you for your kindness, His Majesty the Pope. Hu Jiu didn't say more, just a polite sentence, and the result was a golden plate. Looking at the spirit bone in his hand, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. The moment Hu Jiu took the soul bone, countless greedy eyes shot from all around. This is the soul bone, who doesn't want it? And even the shady person was already thinking about how to get these 3 soul bones in Hu Jiu's hands. It's not the same as in Bibidong's hands. After all, Hu Jiu and others are just students, and even if they are guarded by Flender and others, they may not be able to stop them. After all, the spirit effects of the spirit master world are all kinds of strange, and they have all kinds of peculiar abilities, not to mention other people. Even the ghost Douluo is thinking. He was confident that he could get the soul bone without disturbing anyone. After returning to Tang San and the others, Bibidong started her speech on the stage. After all, the purpose of holding the Spirit Master competition this time was to show the face of the golden generation, and now the purpose was not achieved, so the only thing to do was to promote the Spirit Hall. Chapter 362 Soul Bone Distribution. Regardless of Bibidong on the stage, Hu Jiu and the others had already joined Flender and the others. The 3 spirit bones were passed around in the hands of everyone, and everyone's eyes shone with excitement. Flender looked at Hu Jiu and the others. Let's discuss it, see how to distribute these spirit bones, and absorb them when we go back, so as not to have too many dreams at night. Although it is said to be a distribution, in fact, everyone already knows the ownership of these spirit bones. The moment Flender's voice fell, everyone's eyes were focused on the 7 people who had just played. Oscar, Mengyan, Telong and Jiangsu, who did not play, gave up long before they played. Let's discuss it. I'm not interested in spirit bones, Xiao Wu said lightly, not paying any attention to spirit bones. Since that's the case, then I won't choose either. The spirit bones here are not suitable for me. Dame Yu Bei also said lightly. After today's battle, he has no worries, and waits for Flender to give them to them. After graduation, he will definitely return to the Star Luo Empire, to compete for the position of the heir to the empire. With the background of the Star Luo Empire, he is not afraid of not having a suitable spirit bone. Hey, why are you being reserved? Fatty, take the right arm of the bursting flames. This is the most suitable for you. Hu Jiu patted Ma Hongjian's shoulder and said directly, the right arm of the bursting and burning flame is a powerful offensive spirit bone, which itself is obtained from the fire attribute soul beast. Among them, only Ma Hongjian belongs to the fire attribute, so it is indeed the most suitable for him. Everyone agreed with Hu Jiu's words. With their relationship, there was no need for humility. Thank you, brothers and sisters, then I will be shameless. A flush flashed on Ma Hongjian's face, and his hands trembled with excitement. After allocating the right arm bone of the bursting and burning flame, everyone's eyes turned to the left leg of the chasing wind and the brain of wisdom of spiritual cohesion. Since Xiao Wu isn't interested in spirit bones, then let Zuking take the left leg of the chasing wind, which is the most suitable for her. Tang San said with a smile. Okay, let's discuss the wisdom skull of spiritual cohesion. No one said much about the ownership of the left leg of chasing the wind. After all, it really suits Hu Zuking. As for the wisdom skull of spiritual cohesion, everyone's eyes were on Tang San and Ning Rangrang. The spirit bones that increase the spirit are the most suitable for them. Give it to Rangrang. Of course Tang San wanted it, but considering that it was also suitable for Ning Rangrang, he sighed and immediately shook his head to refuse. No, give it to the 3rd brother. I don't want it. Ning Rangrang shook his head and said, the 3rd brother is the captain, and this spirit bone is the most important to you. As for me, the 7 treasure glazed tile school is not bad. Have you forgotten?
I'm the next heir to the 7 treasure glazed tile school. You directly say that you are a big dog, and it's over if you don't like it. Hu Jiu joked. You're a big dog. It's so ugly. Ning Rang Grang stuck out his tongue and gave him a roll of eyes. Haha, little San, take it. Damu Bei patted Tang San on the shoulder with a look of comfort. I always felt that Tang San was disliked. So pitiful. Next, because Xiao Wu wears the heart of the sea god on her body, it is not as exposed as in the original book. Hu Jiu felt a pity for Wuhan Hall. You must know that in the dark place of Wuhan Hall, Tang Heo was carrying the clear sky hammer and was always ready to take action. After all, he himself had a grudge against Spirit Hall, not to mention Hu Jiu's encouragement, which made him feel itchy. The feeling of smashing the Wuhan temple with a hammer seems to be very good. After the game, Hu Jiu and the others returned to their residence under various gazes, preparing to return to Heaven Dao City with the first Prince Zuking tomorrow morning. No one is an idiot, holding 3 spirit bones. Even if they are absorbed, they can be killed and exploded. In order to avoid trouble, it is of course the best choice to pull the Zuking River into the water. After all, on the bright side, the relationship between them and Zuking was already very good. Although the spirit bones had been allocated, Hu Jiu still had something to do. Zuking, give me your soul bone. The age of the soul bone is too low. It will not benefit you if you absorb it. I will find you a better one in the future, Hu Jiu said to Zhu Zuking. Okay. Zhu Zuking didn't hesitate at all. After hearing Hu Jiu's words, he directly handed over the spirit bone. Like that, it was as if the soul bones that were very precious in the eyes of others were worthless in her eyes. In fact, Hu Jiu really took a fancy to this left leg bone that was chasing the wind at extreme speed. He was right. Chasing Feng's left leg bone was the youngest among the 3 spirit bones, just reaching the 10,000 year age, which was lower than the right arm bone of the bursting and burning flame. In Hu Jiu's heart, this soul bone was indeed not worthy of Zhu Zuking. She is her own woman, and even if she wants to find a soul bone, she must be at least 100,000 years old. However, the issue of age is not a problem here for Hu Jiu. No matter how short the age is, as long as you can hang up. You may not be able to become 100,000 year or 1,000,000 year soul bone in the future. The sooner he hangs up, the better for him. If the left leg bone of chasing wind is added, he has 5 of the 6 spirit bones. Namely the pink spiritual skull, the petrified right hand bone, the left hand bone of the phantom space, the right leg bone of Feng Mo, and the left leg bone of chasing Feng. The 6 great spirit bones were only complete with the torso bones. After dinner, Hu Jiu went back to his room, took out chasing Feng's left leg bone, and slapped it on his left leg very simply. In an instant, a light force came from the left leg, and the whole person seemed to be a little lighter at the same time. The 10,000 year spirit bone also provided him with some spirit power, which made him a little faster for the next level up. Of course, spirit bones are spirit bones after all, and after absorbing them, they can implicitly improve his cultivation aptitude. Unfortunately, there will be no new hang-up slots for this meeting. But Hu Jiu didn't have any worries, because his new hang-up seat has almost been unsealed, and it is estimated that it will only be a matter of 2 or 3 days. After absorbing the spirit bones, he didn't rest immediately, because he knew that tonight would be a restless night. Not only him, but Flender, Zhao Wauqi, and Liu Erlang were all on guard, for fear of an accident. After all, they were in the limelight today, facing the temptation of the 3 spirit bones. If the masters of the spirit bones were not their students, I'm afraid that even they themselves would be tempted. Not only the 3 Flanders on the bright side, but also Du Gubo and Tang Heo in the dark were quietly vigilant. The 2 of them are titled Douluo with a name and a surname. If there is an accident today, they will be embarrassed. In fact, their vigilance was right. Towards midnight, their residence became lively. All kinds of bulls, ghosts, snakes, and gods appeared one after another, but they were all seen through by the 3 of them. Chapter 363.
This commotion actually awakened Tang San and the others. It didn't take long for them to gather with the three of Flender one after another, and even help to clean up the trash fish that came to fish in troubled waters. Hu Jiu did not join them together because he had discovered Ghost Douluo's aura point as a title Douluo, coupled with the special martial spirit effect. Gimli has fooled a large number of people. And even Douluo, who was quietly guarding in the dark, did not find it point, but he could hide from others. But he couldn't hide from Hu Jiu point under the influence of the advanced spirit skill Void Walk. The ghostly aura was ineffective in front of him. Point it can't be said to be invalid. The reason why the ghost can hide from Flender and others, and even Douluo, is to use his martial soul characteristics to hide himself in another dimension point. But for the sense of this space, Hu Jiu's Void Walk happened to be able to do it, and even to him, the ghostly breath was more dazzling in his eyes. Ghost is not too timid, and actually took advantage of this chaotic time to sneak to Flender and the others, hiding in the dark and starting to find his target point. Just a quick glance, his eyes were fixed on Mahangjan. This dead fat man is also anxious. He only got the right arm of the bursting and burning flame. When he returned to the dormitory, he began to absorb it, and he didn't stop at all. Point. After absorbing this spirit bone, the aura on his body became even more explosive, and even his spirit power level broke through the first rank, becoming a 53rd rank assault system spirit master. On the other hand, Tang San, his temperament should be a little more stable, knowing that they have now become the loss of everyone. And also guessing that these few days will not be peaceful, so he put the spirit bones in the bright moonlit night of the 24 bridges, ready to fight. Go to Shandao City and absorb it in front of Tang Hao Point. All of a sudden, Ghost Douluo's eyes immediately focused on the fat man Mahangjan, who made him so embarrassed. Before anyone could investigate, he exposed himself. Point. Just as he was preparing to deal with Mahangjan unwittingly, he didn't know that another person was also trying to figure out what to do with him. Point. Hu Jiu is not a generous person. This old guy and Chrysanthemum Douluo attacked them together at the beginning, but he still dares to come. Since he dares to come, don't leave. Hey, you're a thief. If you don't invite yourself in, you don't deserve a dignified title. Douluo, you bastard, stay here today. Douluo's wicked laugh sounded in everyone's ears today. He lost an adult. Thinking of his dignified title Douluo, he was touched by someone inexplicably. If it wasn't for someone else's reminder, he would have almost lost his face. Point. As soon as the voice fell, powerful soul power fluctuations flashed on Douluo, and it only shocked the entire Wuhan city in an instant. Point. A dark green energy ball instantly appeared in front of the ghost, giving him no chance to escape. Point. Both of them are titled Douluo, but in terms of strength, Gimli is stronger than Douluo. Point. At the stage of title Douluo, the difference in strength between each level is very large, especially those above 95 and below 95. That is the difference between quality and quantity. Point. Douluo was only about level 92, while Gimli was above level 95. With his mind and heart, although Douluo sneaked up first, the ghost still reacted at the last moment and resisted at the critical moment. Point. The strong soul power collided and the entire Wuhan city trembled. Point. In the Hall of Souls, Bibi Dang, who was supposed to rest, suddenly opened her eyes. The ghost has been by his side for so many years. How could she be unfamiliar with his aura? And she had already reacted the moment he and Douluo fought. Point. Not only did Bibi Dang react, but Douluo Yuguan, who fell in love with ghosts and killed each other, also noticed it. Point. Yuguan's figure flashed, and the figure had instantly appeared beside Bibi Dang. His Majesty the Pope, the aura of the battle seems to be a dead ghost, and he's doing things again. Humph. Bibi Dang gave Yuguan a cold look. I'm afraid you already know his whereabouts. Why didn't you stop him? In the face of Bibi Dang's attack, Yuguan's cold sweat broke down. After brushing it off, only they themselves can understand Bibi Dang's strength. HMPH, what are you still doing? Hurry up and put an end to this farce. After hitting Yuguan, Bibi Dang stood up with a dignified expression on her face, which made people dare not look directly. Hey, let's see how you can escape this time. Seeing the ghostly ghost fighting Douluo, Hu Jiu and the others hid far away on the spot. They couldn't participate in the title Douluo level battle, let alone the presence of poison Douluo. The thick green fog that formed into pieces was almost injured and died when it touched it. Better than biological weapons. Hey, I can come when I want, and I can leave when I want. What can you do, old poison? Don't forget, this is Wuhan City. Aren't you afraid that the Pope will be blamed? At the same time, his face is extremely ugly. So far, he has not found out how to go fountain point. You must know that he has always been extremely proud of his hidden skills, but he would have fallen into trouble here today. Wuhan Temple. Yes, this is the Wuhan Temple, a very majestic place. What I took out during the day, I want to get it back at night. I really can't wait for a moment. Don't annoy Laotzu. Be good and kill me, or I will shout today's events all over the street, just to let everyone see the true face of your spirit hall. Douluo sneered loudly. If he was alone, he might be at peace with others. After all, he was alone and weak. If it wasn't for Spirit Hall, he wouldn't have been forced to keep a low profile over the years thinking of his dignified title Douluo. He should have enjoyed his life, but because of the Spirit Hall, he was forced to keep a low profile. Well now, he is not fighting alone this time. Lonely Bo's words. Almost every ghost is angry. This is his death point. Originally, he came out today because he acted privately. If he got involved in the Spirit Hall, Bibidong wouldn't have killed him. No, maybe even more terrifying than killing him. Thinking of Bibidong's imperial tactics, Gui Mei couldn't help shivering. Where is the little devil who dares to act wild in front of Laotzu, courting death? Just when the ghost wanted to retreat temporarily, a low voice sounded in his ear. Although this voice was not loud, the domineering aura surprised him. Damn, why is he here? Why is he still here? The thoughts in his mind changed infinitely at this moment, and finally Tang San's appearance appeared in his mind. Damn, I should have thought of it earlier. Tang Heo and Tang San, they didn't find such obvious clues. Why is I so stupid? Thinking of this, Gui Mei can't wait to give himself a few big slaps. Haha, hurry up, and finally completed today's task. Chapter 364. Bibidong saves the field. The ghost was too frightened and wanted to escape, but before he could make a move, a low bang sounded in his ears, and the space around his body seemed to be frozen, and he couldn't move at all. Boom. The bombing sound like a cannonball sounded, and the ghost's body was instantly blown away, and the blood in the air splattered like he didn't want money, and he ran across a straight line along the traces. He flew out and chased after him closely. Seeing that the ghost's figure was getting smaller and smaller in midair, and when it was almost invisible, a figure with a dark golden light appeared in front of the ghost's body. This figure, of course, was Hu Jiu, who was about to beat the drowning dog. Maybe Tang Heo didn't want to chase after ghosts to fight, but he could. The opportunity to fight title Douluo didn't come all the time. The golden wrought iron body was running at full force, and the dark golden light erupted from Hu Jiu's body. This was not over yet. He was still holding a hammer with mysterious patterns in his hand. In that way, it was officially the clear sky hammer that Tang Heo used just now. Haha, let me die. Hu Jiu let out a loud roar, and the excitement in that voice resounded through half of Wuhan City. Maybe Hu Jiu was overjoyed, and because of this shout, he actually woke up the ghost, who was envious of the semi-conscious state. Seeing the hammer shadow that was getting bigger and bigger in front of him, the ghost's face became extremely ugly, but he still reacted in an instant, and hurriedly activated his martial arts. His body turned into a phantom, and entered the phantom space. Boom. Hu Jiu's hammer finally fell on the ghost. The phantom space is not his alone. With Void Walk, Hu Jiu can do the same. A strong roar exploded, and the ghostly figure paused for an instant, and then he was slammed down by him, and his body quickly fell from midair in the direction of Tang Heo. In the air, a long string of blood was left on the ghost again. Heh, the little guy is very vengeful. Tang Heo looked at the ghost flying towards him with interest, and the hammer in his hand had already been raised. The scene of Tang Heo holding the hammer was seen by the ghost, who was already envious of the half-dead state, and almost scared his soul away. Originally, with Tang Heo's force, it would be good to give him a hammer, and he didn't want to kill anyone, but because of Hu Jiu's ingenious hammer, the ghosts flew back. With a hammer, he felt sorry for himself. It's going to die. It's going to die. His Majesty the Pope, help. The Ghostly voice shouted sharply. The voice was weak and urgent. If it wasn't for the proximity, even Hu Jiu could hardly hear it. Tang. Heyo. At a critical moment, Bibi Dong's figure appeared in front of Tang Heyo, and when she raised her hand gently, the ghost that was shooting fast in midair instantly stopped in midair, hovering in front of Bibi Dong point along with Bibi Dong. Of course, Bibi Dong was not alone. Beside her, there was also a handsomely dressed man, officially Chrysanthemum Douluo Yuguan. Humph. Bibi Dong. Tang Heyo snorted coldly, his hand holding the clear sky hammer clenched tightly. Under the dim night light, Tang Heyo's eyes shot out. Want to avenge your teacher? Here, it's up to you to see if you can do it. Hearing the teacher's name, Bibi Dong's face became even colder. She raised her hand and waved, and a screeching sound resounded throughout Wuhan City Point. Following this scream, 4 screams echoed from the direction of the spirit hall at the same time, and there was a terrifying coercion in that sound. Haha, are you calling someone? I'll wait. Tang Heyo smiled lightly, and his disdainful eyes almost made Bibi Dong go wild on the spot point, but he didn't know that Bibi Dong was secretly complaining about it. It wasn't that she didn't want to take action on the spot and fight Tang Heyo to death. The key was that she couldn't take action. Her cultivation was at a critical period, so that she can't make a move at will point otherwise. How could she call someone? But even though he couldn't make a move, he still had to do it. After notifying the help, Bibi Dong held the scepter in his hand, and the momentum on his body gradually increased. 9 spirit rings slowly appeared under his feet, and they were extremely dazzling. Point yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 red. Point especially the last red spirit ring. It blinded the eyes of a group of people. Point the moment Bibi Dong revealed her spirit ring, Xiao Wu, who was hiding outside the battlefield, suddenly burst out with intense hatred, her eyes staring at the red spirit ring. Her eyes involuntarily shed tears. However, everyone's eyes were focused on Bibi Dong and Tang Heyo, and they didn't notice Xiao Wu's abnormality. Point Bibi Dong showed her spirit rings. Of course Tang Heyo wouldn't show weakness. The clear sky hammer in his hand tightened, and another spirit ring appeared under his feet. The same 9 spirit rings, and the color of the spirit rings was unexpectedly different. Exactly the same as Bibi Dong's yellow, yellow, purple, purple, black, 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 red. Point especially the red 100,000-year-old spirit rings burst into a strong light, and for a while, the spirit rings of the 2 of them actually matched each other. Under the illumination of the spirit rings, they looked so powerful and domineering. Point. But Tang Heyo is Tang Heyo after all. That domineering and contempt for everything actually suppresses the majestic Bibi Dong. In front of Tang Heyo, Bibi Dong's Pope halo seems to be suppressed, and she looks like a little woman. It's very lively here. 4 powerful auras quickly settled here, and after just a few words, they stopped in front of Bibi Dong, and together with her, they faced Tang Heyo, who was shining brightly. Point at the critical moment, a chuckle interrupted the atmosphere that was about to explode. Point Ning Fengxi and Sword Douluo Qingxin, who were elegant and easygoing, appeared in front of everyone under the leadership of the first prince, Zuking. Your Majesty, let it be enough. You guys are going too far. Shenzhen said lightly, without giving Bibi Dong any face in her tone. Point the location where they are now is a residence specially arranged by the Spirit Hall for Shrek Academy. There is no need to guess what happened here. HMPH, what is enough to stop? This is Wuhan City, and they openly wounded the honorary elders of Wuhan Temple on our site. Isn't it obvious who has done too much? Yu Guan covered his mouth. His voice soft said, Chrysanthemum. Pass is quite right. This is the site of the dignified Wuhan Temple, but it turns out that it is full of robbers. The things that are given out during the day are actually taken back at night. This is indeed the Wuhan Temple. In order to promote it, the majesty of your spirit hall, I don't mind spreading the word about today's events, so I will promote the spirit hall for you. Don't worry, this promotion is free. Hu Jiu came to Zuking and said mockingly. Point at this moment, Zuking will come, and she just happens to be her backing. With Shenzhen and Tang Heyo around, Hu Jiu is full of confidence. Presumptuous. Wuhan Hall is doing business. How can you speak? Ghost Leopard Douluo behind Bibi Dong shouted sharply. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365 Compensation. Hu Jiu's words were extremely ugly to Bibidong and the others. At the same time, they also looked at Jiu Mei with blame. If he hadn't caused so many troubles, how could they be so passive? We really don't know about this matter, and we don't know why the ghost appeared here. Yu Guan glanced at Bibidong, who didn't speak, and hesitated before explaining. Haha, what an ignorant one. It's always right that the ghost is yours. Hu Jiu laughed. Hu Jiu, do you really want to fight against our spirit hall? Yu Guan looked at Hu Jiu coldly. If it wasn't for him by Chen Xin and Ning Feng's side, maybe Yu Guan would have shot already. Where would it be? Bullshit with him. How dare I oppose your spirit hall? It's enough that you don't trouble me. This is the second time. Yu Guan, Chrysanthemum, I remember you. I haven't asked you about the last time. Well, this time, it's really like we're bullying, right? Okay, I've written it down. Don't blame me for making trouble for you in the future. Hu Jiu looked at Guan Yu with contempt. It was just a title Douluo, and in a few years, there might be a chance to clean them up. Tell me, what kind of compensation do you want? Bibidong waved her hand to interrupt Yu Guan's words, and looked at Hu Jiu with a flat gaze. He could see that Hu Jiu said so much because he wanted to make up for it. After all, they were wrong in the first place, and it was okay to give some compensation. But I hope he doesn't want to open his mouth like a lion. Then use the spirit bone to compensate. Not too much. A 100,000-year-old spirit bone will suffice. As for the part, it doesn't matter. Hu Jiu said lightly. 100,000-year soul bone. Hu Jiu's request shocked Tang Heo and the others, but they didn't expect his appetite to be so great. This request, let alone Bibidong. Even Zuking, who was standing beside him, raised his brows. Others don't know the family background of Wu Hundian, but she is clear. It's not that there are no 100,000-year spirit bones, but they are very rare. No, they should be extremely rare. If this request is really agreed, even Bibidong do to break the bones. Although it is said that a 100,000-year spirit beast will explode the spirit bone, it has to be found. Which one of the 100,000-year spirit bones in Douluo continent is not very difficult to deal with. And it's also very hard to find. Impossible. We don't have a 100,000-year soul bone. Yu Guan almost jumped up when he heard this. This is a 100,000-year soul bone. He still wants it. Is it not your decision, Your Majesty the Pope? Do you think so? Hu Jiu didn't even glance at Guan Yu and looked directly at Bibidong to see what she said. I can't give you a 100,000-year spirit bone. I hope you can think about it. Bibidong looked at Hu Jiu expressionlessly, but didn't say no, just said that it couldn't be given to him. Okay, let's replace it with torso bones. It doesn't matter how old you are. This requirement is always alright. Of course, it has to be suitable for me. Hu Jiu didn't bite it tightly, just the lion just opened its mouth wide. The torso bone is his main target point. Hu Jiu's request is not difficult, but it is not simple. You must know that among the 6 spirit bones, the most precious is the torso bone. There is no age requirement. Okay. Bibidong gave Tang Heo a deep look, and after seeing that he didn't respond, he turned and left. Tang Heo really didn't react. After all, it was Hu Jiu who discovered the ghost. He just made a simple move. Besides, Hu Jiu helped their family so much, and he was still thinking about how to repay it. It's just that he couldn't understand why Hu Jiu wasted such a good opportunity. After all, although the torso bone is precious, the spirit hall will definitely not give him a spirit bone with a high age, and the age of the spirit bone directly affects the power. Of course, he didn't say much. Everyone has their own secrets. He just needs to know that it's good for Hu Jiu. In this regard, Flender and others did not speak, and Tang Heo contributed, as long as he did not object. Remember to deliver it early. We are in a hurry to go home tomorrow. Looking At Bibi Dong's back, Hu Jiu reminded, "Humph, you Gwen." Dragged the ghost like a dead dog, snorted coldly, too lazy to care about him. "Thank you Brother Zhu for your help today, as well as Uncle Ning and Senior Jian." After they left, Hu Jiu turned to thank Zhu King Point. "If it weren't for them, I still don't know how it would end today. Tang Heo is very powerful, but he still has internal injuries. If Bibi Dong is really dead, I'm afraid they will be free to run this way. Haha, why are you being polite to me? You are my offering, and I'm still waiting for you to help me after graduation." Zhu King patted Hu Jiu on the shoulder boldly, no matter on the face or heart. She very happy point there aren't many chances for Bibi Dong to be deflated. Although the two were mother and daughter, Kan Ming Su only hated her. The more embarrassed Bibi Dong was, the happier she was. Haha, the first prince can get his wish now. The spirit master competition has been completed, and all the students like me can graduate. This kid is too young, and not very sensible. When I come to you in the future, if there is something wrong, I would like to ask His Royal Highness the first prince to take more care. Flender came to them, and said to Zhu King with a smile, "It doesn't matter, a genius has to have his own personality. Brother who can come to help me, I'm too happy, how can I be angry?" Zhu King said with a faint smile. Hu Jiu was the one he was going to recover, and it was too late to hold it. "Well, since it's alright, let's go. Little San, come with me." Tang Heo took the clear sky hammer, beckoned to Tang San, then turned and left point. Although there was only one blow this time, he still accidentally affected some injuries, and he had to let Tang San take care of him. "Yes, Dad." Tang San hurriedly followed in Tang Heo's footsteps. Early in the morning, under the leadership of Zhu King, everyone started their journey back to Heavendale City. On the way, Hu Jiu played with the torso that he had just obtained. This soul bone is indeed quite suitable for him, but the age is a little short, only 5,000 years. Of course, this is also what he expected. The name of the torso bone is the torso bone of the golem. It is very tasteless, and can reduce the damage by 1% when injured. For others, the ability of this torso bone is very tasteless. After all, it can only reduce the damage by 1%, which can be said to be better than nothing. But who let him hang up? After the age of the spirit bone increases, this ability may be called a divine skill. A 1% reduction in damage is very little, but a 100% reduction, isn't that invincible? Chapter 366 Gathering. As the carriage moved forward, Wu Hansheng became smaller and smaller in Hu Jiu's eyes, until it finally disappeared. This time to participate in the finals, it took 20 days to come, 10 days to participate, and 20 days to return to Heavendale City. To participate in the competition, most of the time I was on the road. Hu Jiu missed his previous life. A little traffic. Taking back his thoughts, Hu Jiu carefully held the torso bone and slowly placed it on his chest. He couldn't help being careless. He was just short of the last of the 6 spirit bones. It was said that there would be a strange reaction when the spirit bones were assembled, but it had not been confirmed, because it is difficult for ordinary soul masters to see a single soul bone in their entire life, let alone collect all 6. I'm afraid that only wealthy sects such as the 7 Treasure, Glazed Tile School and the Wuhan Temple can collect the 6 soul bones. Hu Jiu had 5 spirit bones in his body. At that time, he felt that there was a faint connection between the 5 spirit bones, but because of the lack of the most important torso bone, the connection seemed very weak. Powerful, coupled with his own body, such a weak connection can hardly be felt. The torso bones that bloomed with pale light melted into his body like water. In an instant, Hu Jiu felt the limbs of his body and the spirit bones on his head vibrate in unison, as if he was about to rebel. As the torso bones were restored, the vibration became more intense, and along with the vibration of the spirit bones, strong spirit power fluctuations erupted, shocking Tang San and the others. "What's the matter?" Tang San asked, looking at Xiao Wu, who was always beside Hu Jiu. Xiao Jiu absorbed the torso bone. Xiao Wu stared straight at Hu Jiu, and said without turning her head, "It shouldn't be a problem. This is Xiao Jiu's last spirit bone. A little reaction is normal." Tang San pondered for a while, and his eyes fell on Hu Jiu point at this time. The soul power fluctuations on Hu Jiu's body became more intense, and colorful soul power rays circulated around him. Exuding these various characteristics, the head spirit bone shone with pink light. Strong mental fluctuations radiated out. That terrifying prestige made Tang San feel a pressure point. You must know that Tang San's purple demon eye could not only enhance his eyesight, but also his spiritual power. Standing in front of Hu Jiu, even he could hardly stand it, which shows how powerful this spiritual power is. Even Xiao Wu and Zhu Zhu King stood up involuntarily and got off the carriage ahead of schedule. This movement not only disturbed Tang San and the others, but even some of Flender's teachers, as well as Zhu King. Knowing that Hu Jiu couldn't be disturbed at this time, Tang San had to make up a reason, saying that Hu Jiu was cultivating soul skills, and it was already at a critical moment. He was retreating and breaking through, so he persuaded them all to go back. The head spirit bone produced the greatest movement, but other parts were not bad either. Hu Jiu's left arm bone and the phantom space in the left hand showed a dreamlike 7-colored color. His eyes fell on it, and he only felt a bewildering force hit. His body stopped involuntarily, and he couldn't move his eyes. The right arm bone of the petrified mammoth in his right hand made Hu Jiu's right arm seem to be petrified, showing a stone-like texture. The spirit bone of the left leg was the left leg bone of the extreme speed chasing the wind. The sharp blades surrounded the leg, and even Hu Jiu's pants were cut into pieces by these sharp blades and fell to the ground. A cyan light permeated Hu Jiu's right leg, which was the power of Feng Mo's right leg bone, to control the wind. Different characteristics, different rays of light, with torso bones as the backbone, were gradually integrated, and the colorful rays of light gradually turned into pale red, reflecting on Hu Jiu's face, making him more handsome. Light red is the color of Hu Jiu's soul power and the color of Wuhan ginseng. After the 6 spirit bones were gathered together, their spirit power was washed away. Until this moment, the 6 spirit bones were washed away from their original characteristics and became Hu Jiu's own. At this moment, Hu Jiu's spirit power began to increase with the blessing of the 6 spirit bones, from level 74 to level 75, and then to level 76. 2 levels in a row. When the strength reaches the 70th level, the improvement of soul power is not so simple. If you don't practice ginseng, you want to improve 1 level, and you have to use the year as a unit. Gathering together 6 soul bones saved him at least 2 years of cultivation time. Of course, this is not counting the increase in the cultivation of ginseng. Counting the cultivation of ginseng, I saved almost 2 months of time. The changes on his body hadn't stopped yet. Hu Jiu felt that the moment the 6 spirit bones gathered together, the connection between them deepened, and finally they merged into one, becoming a complete human skeleton. It's just that due to the age, some bones are more complete, and some are more missing. Pink spiritual skull, in 23,105. Increase the spiritual power with the spiritual shock soul skill. Illusory space left arm bone. 62,000 years, with an illusionary space, you can use mental power to arrange illusions. Petrified mammoth right arm bone, in 52,000. Petrified mammoth, increased strength, with petrified ray soul skill. Fast forward left leg bone. 10,000 years, greatly increase the speed, and at the same time, condense the soul power of the left leg into a sharp blade, while moving at a high speed to approach the opponent. Use the left leg to perform multiple chain slashes on multiple enemies. Feng Mo right leg bone. 6,000 years old. With the power to control the wind, it can control the power of the wind. Golem's torso bone. 5,000 years. Reduce attack damage by 1%. Opening his eyes, Hu Jiu was startled by dozens of curious eyes. What are you doing looking at me? I have flowers on my face? Hu Jiu took off Oscar's woman's face angrily. 9th. Brother, your face is prettier than Changhua. Tell me how you did it. Ning Ran grabbed Hu Jiu's arm and asked excitedly. Indeed, after the 6 spirit bones were gathered together, Hu Jiu's appearance became even more handsome than Tang San's blue-silver grass evolved into the blue-silver emperor. At this moment, Hu Jiu could finally tell Tang San that he was the most handsome one. He used to be bragging his appearance was similar to Tang San and Dame Yu Bei, but because of his mental age, He seemed more free and easy point, but it's different now, with smooth and fair skin, a face with sharp edges and corners, dark and deep eyes, with a charming color, those bushy eyebrows, high nose, thin lips, all of them are talking about him handsome point, not to mention a woman like Ning Rangrong. Even the men present were almost bent by him point with the help of Xiao Wu taking out a mirror. Hu Jiu finally had a clear understanding of his appearance, so. I'm handsome again. Hu Jiu asked with a smile on his lips. You're so handsome bad, brother Jiu. What should I do if I seem to like you? Ning Rangrong looked at Hu Jiu like an info point originally. She had a good impression of Hu Jiu, but because he already had Xiao Wu and Zhu Zuking, and because of the 7 treasure glazed tile school rules, she had to hide her thoughts. But now Hu Jiu's change made her unable to bear it any longer, and she dared to reveal her heart in front of everyone. Chapter 367. Capturing Rangrong. Hee. Okay, Rangrong, you have finally spoken your mind. It seems that something is wrong with you. Xiao Wu laughed as she looked at Ning Rangrong. For Xiao Wu, who has been keeping an eye on Hu Jiu. How could Ning Rangrong's little thought escape her gaze? Don't say it was her. Even Zhu Zuking felt that. Just because Ning Rangrong didn't say it, he didn't pick it up point in this regard. Even Tang San and the others were not surprised. They were all little friends who lived together. No matter how hidden they were, there would always be times when they would reveal themselves, maybe in their group. Only the naive Tai Long and the least contacted Jiangsu were a little surprised. So, you all know? Ning Rangrong stared at them blankly. Bainen's face was getting redder and redder, like a little ripe apple, wanting to take a bite. It's not hard to guess. Zhu Zuking said with a calm smile. She was the only one who knew Hu Jiu's charm the most. Otherwise she wouldn't have known that Hu Jiu already had Xiao Wu, and she would have joined it regardless. Then, I thought it was well hidden. Ning Rangrong looked at Hu Jiu's playful eyes and other people's playful expressions in shame and indignation. She screamed in embarrassment and ran out of the carriage. What are you doing? Don't hurry to chase. Xiao Wu pushed Hu Jiu, rolled her eyes, and said it is certain to be dissatisfied. But when you think about it carefully, it is no wonder Hu Jiu, not only Zhu Zuking, sent it to the door by himself, but also Ning Rangrong. Hu Jiu never seemed to provoke them. Hu Jiu was stunned for a moment, then hurriedly got off the carriage and chased in the direction Ning Rangrong ran away. Ning Rangrong's actions instantly disturbed Sword Douluo Chenzin, who had been paying attention to the situation here. He knew it, and Ning Fengzi naturally knew it. And of course Hu Jiu, who was chasing after Ning Rangrong, also fell into their eyes. So, my precious daughter has taken a fancy to that stinky boy Hu Jiu. Seeing this scene, Ning Fengzi's elegant and easygoing expression disappeared, and it was unpleasant to see Hu Jiu's disappearing back. This is the little cabbage that he has been like for more than 10 years. It's just like being bullied by a pig. It's no wonder that he's in a good mood. Fengzi, do you want me to teach that stinky boy a lesson? Looking at Ning Fengzi's expression, Sword Douluo said stiffly. Obviously, he was not in a good mood either. Ning Fengzi waved his hand and said, forget it, don't you understand? This is our girl who has taken a fancy to others. What's the use of teaching him? If that girl finds out, you won't hate us. That kid is an auxiliary spirit master. How can he be with Rangrong? Sword Douluo asked. It's okay. With Hu Jiu's cultivation speed, his future is limitless. I'm afraid that in the near future, the entire Douluo continent will undergo drastic changes because of him. As for the rules of the sect, they are only used to restrain ordinary people, special people. I should treat him specially. I believe he has the ability to protect Rangrong. Ning Fengzi didn't care about the rules of the sect, as if never worried. Besides, it's not that Hu Jiu has no attack power. As far as I know, there is no soul master who can defeat him at the same level. This kid is a freak, because of Ning Rangrong. Ning Fengzi also unknowingly revealed some information about Hu Jiu. With his wisdom, Ning Rangrong couldn't find it at all. HMPH, I want to see what that kid has. Saw Douluo thought of Hu Jiu and the other two little girls looking at each other, and he had already made up his mind to teach him a lesson. It's a pity that Hu Jiu didn't know it at this time. After all, Saw Douluo didn't want to hurt him, so his keen sixth sense was invalid. Speaking of Hu Jiu's side, after catching up with Ning Rangrong, of course, he comforted him and then gave him a kiss. A few hours later, Hu Jiu caught up with the advancing team with a flushed Ning Rangrong. When the two of them came back, of course they were facing Hexy from everyone. Time flew by, and in a blink of an eye, 20 days passed. And Heavendale City was in sight. During this period of time, Hu Jiu opened a hang-up position, which he used to hang up the left leg bone, to chase the wind and rush forward. In his soul bone, only the torso bone of the golem did not hang up. However, Hu Jiu is not in a hurry, because after this period of hard work, his spirit skills have also undergone new changes. Self-created soul skills after promotion, meditation, subtle control, perception, poison escape, helix bill, chaotic cloak hammer, diamond wrought iron body, and void walk. Self-created soul skills that have not been promoted, distraction control level 10. Nether soul requiring level 8, hand knife level 9, white tiger sound killing raw level 7, shockwave level 7, overlord level 5. I thought that the first soul skill should be the hand knife, but I didn't expect that when the hand knife soul skill was thrown out as a hidden weapon, it even increased the level of distraction control, which was a pleasant surprise. The full level distraction control allows him to use distractions, especially when manipulating mental power, which is more refined. He didn't need to pay much attention, and a trace of spiritual power naturally extended in his mind, centered on his body, like a spider knotting a web, spreading around the body. As long as there is any disturbance around him, he can't escape his eyes. Even Sword Douluo over level 95 could not escape his perception. Although Sword Douluo's attention to him was obscure, even so, he was still aware of it. Those unhappy eyes made Hu Jiu suddenly realize, my dear, this is malicious. That is to say, from this day on, Hu Jiu and Ning Rangrong were inseparable. With Ning Rangrong's amulet, Sword Douluo couldn't find a chance to deal with him. Back at Shrek Academy, they were greeted by a lot of tedious things. To win the championship of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy competition, Flender of course had to make a lot of publicity, pulling Hu Jiu and the others to set an example, and so on. Of course, the most important thing is the graduation ceremony. At the ceremony, Flender solemnly announced that Hu Jiu and others graduated. From this moment on, they will never have to go to school in the future. Of course, this also means that they are about to go their separate ways. The first person to leave is expected by everyone. 9th. Brother, little 3, I'm going back to the Star Luo Empire. If there is a chance in the future, I'll come to the Star Luo Empire as a guest. If nothing else, I have enough food and wine. Damube looked at the crowd with a reluctant expression. Say goodbye to everyone. Don't make it so sad. It's just the Star Luo Empire. I'll go shopping when I'm free. Then again, can you do it alone? This is about the struggle for the heir to the throne. Although force will play a part, it will definitely not play a key role. The key is to have your own fans. Damube had been away for so many years, and he had no power of his own in the Star Luo Empire. Haha, don't worry, even though I have no interest in that position, it should be mine, and no one can take it away. Damube's eyes opened and closed, and a gleam of light flashed, and a wild and charming expression appeared on his face. Now, he is not afraid of the so-called air battle. Chapter 368. Damube's departure made everyone feel sad for a while. After all, after living together for so many years, no matter how weak the relationship was, it would still be a little bit weak, not to mention that the relationship between them was already very good. But Damube's departure was just the beginning. Followed by Taelong and Jiangsu. Taelong was naturally a member of his power family, but Jiangsu officially joined the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School under the introduction of Ning Rangrong. The 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School is a holy place that auxiliary spirit masters yearn for. Jiang Zhu's cultivation talent is already good. Joining the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School will allow her to get better treatment. Immediately afterwards, Meng still said goodbye to them. Her appearance was originally an accident. After being together for so long, she and Mahanjan hadn't rubbed off a spark, so naturally they wouldn't stay in Shrek any longer. After all, they had already graduated, sister. Still, you must miss us a lot in the future. We will miss you too. Ning Rang Grang and several girls reluctantly held Meng Yiren's hand, and tears were about to fall. The relationship between girls is so wonderful. After being together for so long, they have long forged a relationship behind them. Well, I will miss you. If you have time, you can come and play with me. Meng still comforted Xiao Wu and Ning Rang Grang in a soft voice. After a long time, she waved to Hu Jiu and the others. He waved his hand, then turned away resolutely. She was afraid that she would not want to leave if she stayed any longer. Familiar partners left one by one, making everyone in a bad mood. The group went back to Shrek Academy in silence, and finally Hu Jiu spoke first. I said, Fatty and Xiao, what are your plans? In 2 days, I will go back with Xiao Wu, Zuking and Rang Grang, Holy Soul Village, and then go to be my worship. What? Brother Jiu is also leaving? Mahanjan and Oscar looked at Hu Jiu in shock. Of course we are leaving. We've all graduated. Why don't we still have to stay at the academy? Hu Jiu rolled his eyes. Of course he knew what the two were fighting, but he was afraid that without him, no one would provide ginseng for cultivation. But he is not their nanny. How could he stay with them all the time? Hey, the 9th brother is gone. So what's the point of us staying here? Mahanjan looked depressed, and he was not even in the mood to speak. That really doesn't make any sense. Fatty, why don't we go out with a partner to experience? I want to grow up through experience, or we'll fall behind everyone. Oscar came up with an idea. Okay, it's better to go out and explore. If you can find a daughter-in-law to come back, it's even better. Since being accepted as a direct disciple by Flender, he has regarded Shrek as his home. It's not bad to go out and relax after studying for so long. It looks like you've already made arrangements, so I wish you a pleasant journey. Tang San looked at them with a smile, then smiled. Actually, I'm leaving too, but it's not far, just in the eyes of Bingho Liangai. If you have time, you are welcome to come and visit. Tang San's only expectation at the moment is to wait for his mother's resurrection. Before that, he doesn't want to do other things. That's such a happy decision. Hu Jiu looked at them with a happy smile on his face. It seems that everyone has their own way to go, but he is looking forward to how much they will grow when they meet again in the future. The next morning, Hu Jiu, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zuking, Ning Rang Grang, a man and 3 women set foot on the road back to the Holy Spirit Village. With 3 beauties accompanying. Hu Jiu didn't rush to go back. The 3 girls each had their own strengths. Ning Rang Grang's skin was white and tender, and it seemed like she could squeeze water out of it. Zhu Zuking has a boyish face and a hot figure. Xiao Wu has the highest appearance. Her long legs are slender and pretty. Her soft curves, like toes like jade beads, make people unable to hold it in her hands and play with it. Among the 3, Zhu Zuking had already been eaten by Hu Jiu. Xiao Wu and Ning Rang Grang were not in a hurry to move, so he just kissed and hugged. After all, it was still a little small. If Zhu Zuking hadn't taken the initiative to bring it to the door, and he had held it for too long, he would not have been so impatient. Good things should be eaten when she is most mature, and it will be delicious at that time. Rang Grang, did you tell Uncle Ning about your coming out with me? Hu Jiu suddenly asked. During the tour he found that, since Ning Rang Grang came out with him, the guards around her were gone. That's why he asked this question. I have a message. Ning Rang Grang said slyly. It seems that I'm amused by what I'm doing. Okay, it seems to be the default. Hu Jiu touched his nose, feeling a little embarrassed. To kidnap someone else's daughter, even Ning Feng's gentle temperament would be annoyed. Maybe it will be cleaned up by Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo together. If this is the case, then you have to be careful. It is best to be with Ning Rang Grang all the time, never be apart. She is the best talisman for him. Where's Zuking? Have you ever thought about going home? Afterwards, Hu Jiu looked at Zhu Zuking again. Zhu Zuking shook his head without thinking. I can't go back. I haven't ignored the strength of the family. If I go back, I won't be able to come out again. She knows very well what her family looks like. The reason why she was able to come out before was because she was not taken seriously. The family's eyes have been focused on her elder sister Zhu Zuan, but after the battle in the finals, it is estimated that her information has been passed home. If you go back at this time, most of them will be manipulated by the family as a puppet and will not be free. Therefore, during this period of time, she did not mention a word about going home at all. Let's not hurry. With our cultivation speed, the title Douluo will only be a few years away. When you become a title Douluo, you can do whatever you want. Hu Jiu comforted, yeah. Zhu King showed a charming smile. A month later, Grandpa, where are you going? As soon as he returned to the Holy Spirit village, Hu Jiu found old Jack who was on crutches. Jiu. Old Jack turned around and found Hu Jiu who was smiling and the three girls behind him. The child has grown up. Come and see Grandpa. Old Jack looked at them excitedly. Hu Jiu had always been his pride. He believed that with Hu Jiu around, the Holy Spirit village would sooner or later live up to its name. Well, at this time he didn't know, his wish had already been fulfilled. Hello, Grandpa. Zhu, Zhu King, and Ning Rang shouted together. Haha, but, all good kids. Old Jack looked at the three beautiful girls with satisfaction. He had seen Zhu, but he didn't expect that after a while, there were two more girls. It seemed that the old Hu family was destined to spread. Chapter 369 Hu Jiu and -039, S inspiration. Old Jack is mature and sophisticated, and they knew who Hu Jiu was from the way they looked at Hu Jiu. Grandpa, where are you going? Zhu asked, while holding old Jack's arm. Old Jack is getting older. Although he is very energetic, his waist is more bent. Today is the day of the awakening of the spirit. I'm going to the gate of the village to meet the spirit masters. Old Jack showed a bright smile. In recent years, there have been two spirit masters in the village, Hu Jiu and Tang San. The fame has also been started, and the nearby 10 miles and 8 villages are willing to marry the girl to the Holy Soul village, wanting to get a good reputation. Especially when Hu Jiu came back several times. Each time the level of spirit power has changed a lot, and it has accelerated the development of the village. Up to now, the Holy Spirit village is not so much a village as it is a town. Hey, just leave this to us. Is the spirit master who awakened our village this time still Su Yunteo? Hu Jiu asked. Looking at old Jack's old age, Hu Jiu felt that he should not continue to work hard. When he went back, he would talk to his father Hu Jiu and let him be the village head. After asking the three girls from Zhu to send old Jack back, Hu Jiu returned to the gate of the village. Along the way, many people recognized Hu Jiu. Although he hasn't seen him for many years, his appearance is still somewhat similar to when he was a child. Facing them, Hu Jiu also greeted them casually. Some he didn't know, and some he was very familiar with. They were uncles and aunts who knew in the village before. He didn't wait long at the entrance of the village, and a figure that made Hu Jiu remember deeply appeared in front of him. It was still dressed in a strong white suit with a black cloak behind it, and it was the standard attire of the staff directly under the spirit hall. It's just that he is much more mature than before, and his arrogance has been smoothed out by reality. At the age of more than 30 years, he looks like he is in his 40s. Lord Su Yunteo. Hu Jiu chuckled lightly, with a playful smile on his face. Hu Jiu. Hello, just call me Su Yunteo, or Xiaoteozi. Seeing Hu Jiu's appearance, Su Yunteo was instantly excited, and ran to him and saluted respectfully. Soul Saint. As soon as Su Yunteo said these words, it instantly caused an uproar among the people watching the excitement. They are too far away from the Soul Master, but they also know what the Soul Saint represents. After all, the name of the Holy Soul village was created because of the Holy Soul. But they didn't expect that Hu Jiu, who had grown up with them since childhood, became a Soul Saint without a sound. At this moment, the eyes they looked at Hu Jiu changed instantly, as if Hu Jiu, a handsome figure, was in a single place. Instantly taller. Don't be polite, I know you're busy, let's talk while walking. Hu Jiu waved his hand and patted Su Yunteo's shoulder with a smile. You helped me awaken my martial soul back then. It is my blessing to be able to awaken the martial spirit for the adults. Su Yunteo said cautiously. The news of the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Elite Tournament spread faster than expected, especially the news of Hu Jiu and the other champions, and the news of Hu Jiu's life was turned upside down. So Su Yunteo also remembered who he was thinking that he still looked down on martial soul at the beginning, but he didn't expect that he would become a soul saint in just a few years, but he was only in his 30s, and he didn't even break through the 40th level point, the same as the second level innate soul power. The difference is too big. Thinking of this, a bitter smile appeared on Su Yunteo's face. Together with Su Yunteo, I came to the Wuhan Hall in the center of the village. The original humble house had become a tall and beautiful auditorium. The auditorium was built with beautiful granite, so it must have taken a lot of effort. Outside the auditorium, some parents accompanying their children's awakening looked expectant. After seeing Su Yunteo and Hu Jiu, they greeted them warmly and respectfully. Su Yunteo was already familiar with such a scene, and saw that he nodded lightly, and took Hu Jiu to the auditorium first. Auditorium U. Some children have long been waiting here. Hu Jiu took a cursory glance, and found that there are actually 50 children awakened in your village this time, which is much more than when they awakened a few years ago. I remember at that time, they only had a few children. Looking at the expectant children, Hu Jiu suddenly had an idea, and had a wonderful idea. Thinking of it, doing it, Hu Jiu stood in front of these children with a soft smile on his face, wiped it on his hand, and a light red ginseng appeared in his hand. Children, I'm your brother Hu Jiu. I have delicious food here. If you eat delicious food, I will bless you all to become master soul masters in the future. When he thinks about it, these children have not awakened their martial arts, and his ginseng has the power to make people evolve their martial arts. If they are allowed to eat ginseng, when their martial arts awaken, there may be unexpected changes. Of course, it is also possible to fail. Anyway, it doesn't matter if you try it. After eating his ginseng, there are only benefits, and no harm. The name Hu Jiu was quite well known in the Holy Spirit Village. When they heard that the handsome big brother standing in front of them was actually a genius spirit master, the small eyes shone with admiration. The ginseng that Hu Jiu took out was of course warmly welcomed. The pink and tender ginseng tastes sweet, crisp and delicious, and the children want to eat the second. After eating one, Su Yunteo didn't say much about Hu Jiu's actions. In his opinion, Hu Jiu just used his martial spirit as a snack for them to eat. As for what Hu Jiu said, he would not believe a word that he would become a spirit master after eating his spirit. How can there be such a good thing in the world if you can awaken your cultivation talent by eating the food of food type soul masters? Then everyone in this world can become a soul master under the auspices of Su Yunteo. The first child began to awaken his martial soul. He has been doing this routine for more than 10 years, and he has long been familiar with it. Come on, stretch out your right hand. Covered by a faint golden light, countless light spots floated out of the awakening formation and submerged into the awakened child's body. Su Yunteo's majestic voice sounded, reminding the child of his actions. The child was trembling, with a painful expression on his face, but he stretched out his right hand obediently. The moment he stretched out his right hand, all the light spots rushed out, and in an instant, a kitchen knife appeared in his palm. From the outside, this kitchen knife is like a substance, slowly rotating in the boy's hand. Chopper? This is a weapon spirit. Okay, let's take a look at your innate spirit power. Next, under the guidance of Su Yunteo, the boy learned to withdraw his martial spirit, and then Su Yunteo took out a crystal ball and asked the boy to put his right hand on the crystal ball. This scene also attracted Hu Jiu's attention. He also wanted to see if his ginseng was useful. Chapter 370 Miracle Birth. When the boy's hand was placed on the crystal ball, a shallow layer of light lit up and instantly filled the entire crystal ball. First level. Innate soul power. Congratulations, you can become a tool soul master in the future. Su Yunteo glanced at the child in amazement. Qualified child, come on, child, you stand here and wait. Su Yunteo's tone softened. Although it is only a first level innate soul power, a first level also has the opportunity to become a soul master. Next, this time it was a little girl who woke up. Your martial spirit is blue silver grass. It is also a weapon spirit. Although it has been a long time, Su Yunteo still remembers Tang San's name, not to mention that Tang San is still a member of Shrek team. His precedent was that Su Yunteo would never dare to say that blue silver grass was a waste of martial arts. It's the first level of innate soul power again. Su Yunteo patted his head in surprise, feeling a little evil today. Usually a village can awaken a child with soul power. Yes. Next, martial soul ho, half level innate soul power. Su Yunteo was numb. He rubbed his eyes hard, and after finding that there was no detection error, he suddenly raised his head to look at Hu Jiu. The awakening of spirit power one after another was not accidental. It was definitely related to the ginseng Hu Jiu gave them to eat just now. Seeing Su Yunteo's shocked eyes, Hu Jiu returned him a mysterious smile. He was really happy. He didn't expect that his martial spirit could actually give people the aptitude for cultivation. Although their aptitude is very poor, the lowest is only half level, which is comparable to the cultivation talent of the master. But don't underestimate the half level cultivation aptitude. With the aptitude, it proves that they have the opportunity to go further. From the moment of awakening, they have changed from ordinary people to future soul masters. Even if they only cultivate to 10 level, that is also a soul master, no longer ordinary. Next, Su Yunteo witnessed a miracle. Of the 50 awakened children, 48 of them had cultivation qualifications, although most of them were at the half or first level. But it was enough to shock him. As for the 2 children who have not awakened, there is really no way to do it. One martial spirit is a waste stone that can be seen everywhere, and the other is a piece of scrap paper. Even if Hu Jiu has the ability to change his life against the sky, he can't do anything about them. Hu Jiu Hunsheng. This Su Yunteo felt a little flustered and didn't even know how to write the awakening certificate. This is a big miracle. If this matter is reported, he feels that something will happen. It's alright, you can report what you want, don't worry. Hu Jiu waved his hand with a smile, but it was just a small trick. Although it is surprising to turn ordinary people into soul masters, after all, their aptitudes are not good. Even if Wuhan Temple knew about it, it wouldn't be too much of a concern. And he is a soul saint now. Maybe he will be soul Douluo in a while, and he is not afraid of the big tree in the wind. Yes. Su Yunteo breathed a sigh of relief when he heard Hu Jiu's answer. Just now, he had imagined that Hu Jiu's secret was discovered by him, and he was about to be killed and silenced. After completing the awakening, Su Yunteo left early, and Hu Jiu walked out of the auditorium with a group of children. Zhao Jiu, my child has really woken up. As soon as he went out, an old lady didn't even care about her own child, and hurriedly ran to Hu Jiu and asked, Zhao Jiu, I heard that the children are awakened. They are awakened because of you, right? In a blink of an eye, Hu Jiu was surrounded by adults. Don't worry, be quiet, let me say a few words. Hu Jiu's ears were buzzing, so Wei had to release a little soul power to calm the scene. Yes, folks, be quiet, let my son speak slowly, don't worry. Fortunately, Hu Jiu arrived at this time, with a pouty belly and a rich man's dress. However, his words were still very prestigious. Under his arrangement, the villagers lined up obediently, as if they were holding a major meeting. At the back of the crowd, Mother Emma, Xiao Wu and the others looked at Hu Jiu with smiles, a look of prosperity. Today is a happy day for our village. You already know the situation. That's right. Of the 50 children who came to awaken today, 48 of them are qualified to cultivate. Hu Jiu first announced the authenticity of the news. Lord Soul Master just said that this is all your credit. Xiao Jiu, tell me. A familiar aunt asked loudly. What? Xiao Jiu, I will be called Master Soul Saint in the future. My little Jiu is already a soul saint. Who are you? I said proudly. Fart. No matter how powerful your child is, it's still my nephew. What's wrong with my name, Hu Jiu? When I was a child, well, this stubborn aunt is their neighbor, and they are very close, and they treat Hu Jiu as an outsider at all. Well, yes, I used some tricks when I woke up, but unfortunately I couldn't succeed 100%, and there were still 2 children who failed. Hu Jiu nodded, acknowledging that he did everything in his wake point. After all, he is not a saint. He does not give his name when he does good deeds, and he does his part to make the children and the village awaken to their talent for cultivation. It is said that this world has a means to believe in becoming a god, and he has to prepare for becoming a god in the future. It is a great kindness to let other people's children awaken the cultivation aptitude that they did not have before. If you think about it, as long as you have a little conscience, you will thank him for the rest of your life. Next, the villagers were ecstatic for a while. After all, there was a future soul master in the family, which was a change of fate. However, after the rejoicing, everyone began to feel embarrassed again. It was a good thing to have awakened martial arts, but everyone was poor, and there was no way for their children to go to the primary Soul Master Academy. When Hu Jiu told Hu Jiu about this, Hu Jiu waved his hand and immediately said that he had paid for the tuition for school. It's just a small amount of money anyway. It's nothing to him. Remember the primary Soul Master Academy, the tuition fee is only 1 gold soul coin. Spirit Hall's response was faster than expected. After Su Yunteo reported the situation of the Holy Spirit Village at the Spirit Hall of Notting City, the news was quickly passed back to the Pope Hall and fell into the hands of Bibi Dong. Looking at the information in his hand, Bibi Dong's eyes showed a surprising light. He could actually think that people awakened their cultivation aptitude. Hu Jiu's method is incredible. His Majesty the Pope, Hu Jiu is unavailable. Do we want it? The newly wounded ghost wiped his neck. He was beaten to death by Hu Jiu and Tang Heo together. He didn't hate Tang Heo, but he hated Hu Jiu thoroughly. If it wasn't for his obstruction, he wouldn't have ended up in this field. HMPH, don't think that some of these are not worth it. It can help the Soul Master to awaken. This is a good thing, but it just reaches the threshold of cultivation. Don't worry about it, Bibi. Dong waved her hand to stop the ghost, and then gave a light command. Chapter 371. In the Holy Spirit Village, Hu Jiu stayed for a whole month. During this time, his mother Emma was very happy. His son brought back 3 daughters-in-law at once, and they all looked like little fairies. Yes, he almost laughed. Got to keep her mouth shut. But it's almost a month away. If they continue to stay, I'm afraid Emma will be in a hurry to get them married. At the age of 15, you can already get married in this world and even have children. I remember that Fatima Hanjan's father gave birth to him at the age of 15. Hu Jiu was about to leave. Although she was very reluctant to leave, Emma didn't force them to stay. She just told them to come back and see more. After packing everything up, Hu Jiu took Xiao Wu, Zhu Zuking, and Ning Rangrang to leave the Holy Soul Village and set off for Heavendao City. This trip, it is estimated that he will not come back in a short time. For this reason, before leaving, he persuaded Hu Jiu to work hard and give him a sister or brother. In the end, he was scolded by Emma, and if he hadn't run fast, he might have been cleaned up. It is precisely because of this that it dilutes the sorrow of parting. In just 2 months, Hu Jiu's level has been raised by another level, becoming a level 77 food type soul sage, and his level is approaching level 80.0. Wu, Zhu Zuking, and Ning Rangrang were not far behind either. Xiao Wu was promoted by 1 level, reaching level 65. Zhu Zuking and Ning Rangrang each improved to levels. One reached level 56 and the other reached level 54. It is worth mentioning that, after 2 months of hanging up, the age of the 6th spirit ring finally exceeded 10,000 years, and the phantom avatar of the spirit ability became a physical avatar. The effect of the upgraded soul skill is similar to the shadow clone in Hokage. You can use soul power to create an entity clone with independent thinking. As long as the soul power is still there, it will not dissipate. And the physical clone can also use his martial spirit and spirit skills. When the soul power dissipates, the memory of the physical clone's experience will be transmitted back to the mind. The appearance of this spirit ability made Hu Jiu's eyes light up, and it seemed that he would be able to let the physical clone go to Rinxu to fish in the future. This soul skill has a bad shortcoming. It may be that the age is still too low. No matter how much he tries, he can only release a physical clone. This shortcoming really makes him a little unhappy. If he could go out indefinitely, he could occupy the entire Douluo continent by himself. It was another month after the group of 4 returned to Heavendao City in the way of traveling in the mountains and waters. Not long after they stepped into Heavendao City, 3 groups of people came to the door at the same time. One was from Zuking, who asked him to report to the Imperial City as soon as he came back. The other was from Ning Fengzi. This one was not looking for Hu Jiu, but Ning Rangrang. The other one is Tang San, and his mother is still waiting for Hu Jiu's Binghuo domain to help him grow. During the absence of Hu Jiu, Yin's growth rate has slowed down a lot, and Tang Heo and his son are anxiously waiting for him to come back. Brother Jiu, I'm going home. I'll come back to you in a few days. After a while, Ning Rangrang came to Hu Jiu very unhappy to say goodbye. This time, Ning Fengzi issued a strict order that she must go back immediately, or else she would send Sword Douluo and Bone Douluo to invite her in person. Okay, after this time is over, I can go to the 7 treasure glazed tile school to find you. Hu Jiu smiled. After saying goodbye to Ning Rangrang, Hu Jiu also sent Zuking's people away and asked him to report back, saying that he would go to the palace tomorrow to find him and officially take office. Haha, little San, you've had a good time this time. Your level has improved. After the trouble was resolved, Hu Jiu found Tang San, who was waiting. Judging from the level of aura, Tang San's spirit power was about 62, staying in the eyes of ice and fire. His cultivation speed was not slow. Haha, no matter how fast it is, it's not as fast as you. Don't you know that without your cultivation of ginseng, my soul power cultivation speed would have slowed down? Tang San said with a wry smile. When Hu Jiu left them behind, he didn't leave much ginseng for cultivation, just about the same amount, and it was gone when he used up. Haha, I'm back. I'll be in Heavendao City for a long time, and I won't go anywhere. Hu Jiu said with a big laugh. It's still interesting to see Tang San's deflated appearance. That's great. This way, mother can be resurrected faster. Tang San was overjoyed when he heard that Hu Jiu wasn't going to leave. Resurrect his mother earlier, and he will be able to settle down earlier. Early the next morning, Hu Jiu went to the Imperial City alone, punched in for the first time at work, and went to the real body. No matter what point, when he came to the Imperial City, the people from Zuking were already waiting for him. Under the leadership of the guards, Hu Jiu saw Zuking, who had not seen him for a long time. Haha, brother Hu, you're finally back. It's so hard to wait for your brother. Zuking put on a longing look, but it made Hu Jiu stunned for a moment. If Zuking spoke to him in the way of Rinxu, maybe he would still be happy, but with a man's face on his face, it would be a bit awkward. Let brother Zhu wait. Do you have any orders? Hu Jiu asked. What orders are not ordered? I have already said, we are brothers. Don't be like this. Zuking said. Well, brother Zhu is right. Hu Jiu quickly admitted his mistake. But there is one thing, Zuking said with a smile. I heard that brother Hu went home to do a big thing this time. Big brother hasn't had time to congratulate you yet. Congratulations. Hu Jiu's thoughts changed, and he instantly understood that Zuking was talking about helping the children of the Holy Spirit village to awaken their martial arts. Although he had already guessed it, there was a puzzled look on his face. Sure enough, Zuking was really looking for him for this matter, but it was not a bad thing, but a good thing. There is no impermeable wall in the world, and the fact that Hu Jiu can awaken people's talent for cultivation has long since spread to Skydao City. Even those rich and powerful people already know Hu Jiu's identity. Big brother Zhu, this doesn't seem to matter. Hu Jiu asked inexplicably. After all, the awakened children are not very talented in cultivation, their future achievements are limited, and they have little value. How can it be worthless? Zuking smiled and said, I have analyzed your ability. Since you can awaken children who have no talent for cultivation, they can only cultivate. If they have talent for cultivation, isn't that a talent? Higher, both of these situations, whichever it is, are very important to those in the big family, brother. Zhu means that they pay me to buy my ginseng? Then when you wake up, you can improve your cultivation talent. After talking for a long time, Hu Jiu finally understood what Zuking meant. Well, not to mention those big families, there are many people from our royal family who are eyeing you. Zuking smiled. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 370 to Tang Hao and -039's arrangement. No problem, I will provide them with ginseng, as long as they can afford the price. Hu Jiu raised the corner of his mouth with a smile on his face. Of course he wouldn't refuse if he had money delivered to his door. It was too late to be happy. Maybe because of ginseng, he can get rich early. Well, it's good if you can think of it this way. Zuking also smiled. He thought it would take a while, but he didn't expect Hu Jiu to agree so easily. But this is more troublesome, and I have to help from Big Brother Zhu. It's okay to make a little ginseng in his spare time, but it's not enough to do it all the time. He still has to practice. No problem, Brother Hu, just leave the ginseng to me, and I'll take care of the rest, to make sure they don't interfere with your life. Zuking also understood what Hu Jiu meant, but he was more willing to take such work. This is a good opportunity to make contacts with his ambition. Of course he doesn't want to miss it. Haha, thank you Big Brother Zhu. I know Big Brother Zhu is not bad for money, but my brother can't help but say that this is good. But the ginseng we sell will get half of each of us. Anyway, Big Brother Zhu can't be helped in vain. Hu Jiu said with a smile. No need. Zuking looked at Hu Jiu dissatisfiedly. He didn't want Hu Jiu's money, and besides, he wasn't short of money. He is inferior to a talent like Hu Jiu. Not to mention asking for money. He wished he could corrupt Hu Jiu with money. The business of buying and selling ginseng was only one of the things that Zuking asked him to do, and the most important thing was to arrange his future affairs. He is not a battle spirit master. If he is a battle spirit master, he must always follow Zuking to protect his safety. But the food system is different. To put it bluntly, he usually has nothing to do with him. When something happens, I'm afraid it is time to go to the battlefield. Only on the battlefield can the food system play its greatest role. And now that he is not needed for the time being, Hu Jiu was also offered as a treasure by Zuking, and became a genuine offering. To this end, Zuking also arranged a yard for him in his mansion, served with delicious food and drink, and also sent a few beautiful maids to serve him. The specifications were so high that he almost couldn't control it. Speaking of which, Hu Jiu didn't have a favorable impression of the Xiandao Empire royal family. Up to Prince Zhu crossing, down to Prince Zhu Beng, he did not leave a good impression on him. Although they seemed to be pretending they were afraid of being cleaned up by Zuking, but it had nothing to do with him. On the contrary, it was Zuking. Hu Jiu felt pretty good about him, and he didn't know if it was because he knew she was Kanrinksu. After all, Hu Jiu hadn't done anything for her yet. Instead, she not only helped him get the sea god's heart, but also gave him a very high treatment. It made him a little embarrassed to take advantage of it. After staying at Zuking's mansion for a long time, he left some ginseng and handed it over to Zuking. Hu Jiu said goodbye to him. Haha, Brother Hu, you don't have to come every day. If something happens, I will send someone to notify you in advance. Of course, if Brother Hu is willing to come to my mansion for more walks, it will be even better. Zuking smiled. Okay, then I'll disturb Big Brother Zhu. Hu Jiu smiled. He was willing to have more contact with Zuking, and for nothing else, he just wanted to find a chance to see her true face. I remember Kanrinksu was very beautiful, but I don't know if it's true. Bibi Dong is so beautiful, and she is not bad compared to Kanrinksu. After a lunch, Hu Jiu came to Bingho Liangai. Good Boy, you have been away long enough this time. Tang Heo said dissatisfiedly when he saw Hu Jiu point during the time without Hu Jiu. His yin has grown very slowly. It has been more than 3 months, and now he has not even had 30,000 years. If Hu Jiu was there, let alone 30,000 years, I'm afraid that years have it. Haha, it's not too far. I've only been at home for a month, but I won't be leaving for a while. I promise that within a year, Undain will be resurrected. Hu Jiu patted his chest said, don't listen to your nonsense, Uncle Heo. It's good for Hu Jiu to take time to help me. How can I keep bothering you? This is, Yin's figure emerged from the blue silver grass, frowning and stunned. Tang Heo a glance, said dissatisfied, Auntie, Yin, it's alright, Xiao Zhan is my brother, we don't need to be so polite. Besides, it's not that I didn't get any benefits. Uncle Heo not only gave me soul skills, but also helped me train. Looking at the beautiful and gentle Yin, Hu Jiu always felt that her figure seemed to be solid. Yes, we are brothers. Tang San nodded in agreement. Hu Jiu's kindness to him is not over in this life. Okay, brat, don't hurry up and start work. I'll check later if you've been lazy during this time. Tang Heo urged beside him. It is good, Hu Jiu smiled confidently. There is an on-hook panel. No matter how lazy he is, he will not miss his homework. In just 3 months, he has already cultivated the dominant body to level 5, so there is absolutely no problem in making Tang Heo satisfied. In the next period of time, Hu Jiu released his physical clone to go to Zuking to contact his feelings, while the main body mostly stayed in the eyes of ice and fire. Under Tang Heo's teaching, Hu Jiu's various spirit skills improved very quickly. The full level distraction control distance has been promoted very quickly. Of course, the faster progress is still a hand knife and the domineering soul skill. One directly reached the full level, and the other was upgraded to level 6 in a short period of time. Time flew by, and 3 months passed in a blink of an eye. It has been half a year since the Soul Master competition. During this time, Tang San was caught by Tang Heo and practiced the chaotic cloak hammering technique. Originally, Tang Heo wanted to teach Hu Jiu together. As a result, after seeing the realm of Hu Jiu's chaotic cloak, he no longer cares about him. In terms of the state of chaotic cloak, he can no longer teach Hu Jiu. In 3 months, Hu Jiu, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zuking, Tang San, and Ning Rangrong, the 5 people's spirit power levels had undergone tremendous changes. Hu Jiu, Martial Soul Ginseng, level 79 Food System Soul Sage. Xiao Wu, Martial Soul Soft Bone Rabbit, 67th level Agility Attack Type Soul Emperor. Tang San, Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass, level 64 Control System Soul Emperor. Zhu Zuking, the Martial Soul Ghost Cat, the 58th level Agility Attack Type Soul King. Ning Rangrong, the 9 Treasure Glazed Tile Pagoda of Wuhan, the 56th level Auxiliary Soul King. At this point, it was almost time for Hu Jiu to think about the 8th Spirit Ring. Hu Jiu had already had an idea about his 8th Spirit Ring. He decided to look for the Dark Demon Tiger as his 8th Spirit Ring. It doesn't matter what the Spirit Ring skills are. Xiao San, Xiao Jiu, let me ask you, what do you think of your actual combat ability? On this day, after training, Tang Heo asked Hu Jiu and Tang San a question. It should be alright. After hesitating for a while, Tang San replied, what does it mean to be okay? It's okay if it's okay, and it's okay if it doesn't work. What a big man, what a mother-in-law does. Tang Heo scolded. Chapter 373, The Heartless Father and Son. I'm still a little short, Tang San said embarrassedly, bowing his head. Then, do you know what's wrong? Tang Heo asked. Tang San was stunned when he heard the words, I'll be humble. Why do you take it seriously? Regarding his own strength, he is still quite confident. To have the strength of a Soul Emperor at this age, he is really not afraid of anyone other than Hu Jiu. Even if Xiao Wu and Amu Bei are both Soul Emperors, he is not afraid of anyone else. Don't be afraid. Your strength is really good among your peers, and even considered excellent. In my opinion, it's a little bit worse. You can only be regarded as strong, but you don't have the corresponding experience. Looking at Tang, the appearance of 3, Tang Heo explained. Actual combat experience? Tang San raised his head in confusion. They have this, and the experience is not weak. Shrek Sao Wuji, Flender, and Liu Erlang are all their targets. Why is he talking about it? Become inexperienced. Regarding Tang Heo's remarks, Hu Jiu was thoughtful. Is this planning to harass his son? It seems that Uncle Heo is ready to let them go to the killing capital point, but let Tang San go. Why add yourself? As a food type soul master, it is enough to have the ability to protect yourself. Why do you still want to train him as a war soul master? Tang Heo then said, the actual combat I'm talking about is not the kind of actual combat you practice against others. What I'm talking about is the real life and death struggle. Only in the battle of life and death can the potential of the human body be unleashed, and only when you are on the verge of death. The ones who come out are the real strong ones. In terms of combat experience, you all have good experience, but you're missing the most important thing. Murderous? Hu Jiu asked. Yes, it is murderous aura, and it is pure murderous aura. This murderous aura cannot be accumulated by killing 1 or 2 people. You can feel my breath carefully. Speaking, Tang Heo's face turned straight. His pupils shrank slightly, and in an instant, an extremely cold aura emanated from him. When this aura enveloped Tang San and Hu Jiu, they only felt cold in their hands and feet, and the sixth sense in their bodies kept telling them to run away quickly, otherwise their lives would be in danger. An icy, evil, and terrifying aura permeated every skin. And a huge and pure murderous aura came upon us. This aura made people tremble, and made people unable to breathe. Boom. Hu Jiu's mental power burst out uncontrollably, and the automatic release of the ice and fire domain on his body helped him resist the murderous intent from Tang Heo. This is the materialization of murderous aura. This thought instantly popped into Tang San's mind. The teacher once said that when a person's strength reaches an extremely terrifying realm, his murderous aura can even reach the level of materialization. Such a realm is extremely rare, even entitled Douluo. He never thought that his father could actually do this at the moment. When Hu Jiu's strength exploded, Tang Heo's face flashed a hint of surprise. He didn't expect Hu Jiu to break free under his murderous aura. It seemed that he underestimated him a bit. But looking at Tang San again, he was actually stunned by his murderous aura. Even his mind stiffened. A moment of disappointment flashed in his eyes. It seemed that his decision was right, and the little 3 was indeed a little short, so he should be allowed to go to that place for a while. The real powerhouse has always climbed out of the pile of death. Restraining his murderous aura. Tang San shuddered fiercely, and couldn't wait to take a deep breath, as if this would make him feel warm. Do you feel it? This is murderous aura. Murderous aura can shock the opponent's mind, and it can also make one's own life and death put aside. Only when there is no fear of life and death can a person fully exert one's own strength. Tang Heo said lightly. Dad, then how am I supposed to have your murderous aura? Tang San's eyes flashed, looking at Tang Heo extremely eagerly, and asked, this stupid child, how can he get into the pit by himself? Hu Jiu was speechless to the father and son. One dared to teach, and the other dared to learn. They don't take life seriously. If both of them are the protagonists, they might be dead long ago. Tang Heo shook his head and said, I don't have the ability to teach you to have murderous aura. You are my son after all. No matter how deep the murderous aura I release, you still don't believe that I will really kill you. So if you want to have murderous aura, you can only go. The real understanding, I can take you to a place where you can have murderous aura. Do you dare to go? Dare, don't. Dare. Tang San and Hu Jiu's answers were completely opposite. Looking at Tang Heo and Tang San's gaze, Hu Jiu had a helpless expression. Little San, Uncle Heo, have you ever heard a saying, those who kill are those who know how to punch, those who drown are those who know water. You only have one life. What if there is an accident? Besides, I'm just a small food type soul master. Why do I need that murderous aura? With this time, it's better to use it to improve my strength. The strength is strong. It doesn't matter whether it is murderous or not. For example, when I'm 10 or 20, or even 30, your level is higher than yours. Is your strength still useful in front of me, uncle? Heyo, don't look at you very powerful. If I have god level strength now, can you still stand well in front of me? Hu Jiu didn't have to guess where Tang Heo was going to take them. The slaughter city wasn't a good place, and he couldn't use spirit and spirit skills in that place. He still had a great youth, and the fool was going inside. What if you can't get in and out? Do you know where I'm taking you? Tang Heo asked. The capital of slaughter. I should be this place. Hu Jiu asked as a matter of course. Don't say that he has read the original book. Even if he hasn't, with his perception ability, he can collect any amount of secret information. What's more, after becoming the enshrined of the Heaven Dao Empire, the library of the royal family opened most of the permissions for him, except that the secrets of the royal family were hidden from him, and other knowledge was casually read. Okay. It's good if you don't go. If you are here to help me watch Yin, I can leave with confidence. Hearing that Hu Jiu didn't want to enter the killing capital, Tang Heo didn't force it. Hu Jiu wasn't his son after all. He will not make decisions for others. Where is the killing place? Tang San looked up at Hu Jiu, wanting to hear him explain. That's a place where individuals cannibalize people. There is no trust between people. There is only killing. Only the most vicious people will enter it when they are desperate, and it is said that the person who enters has never appeared. Hu Jiu grinned. Zhao. Jiu is right. After you know where it is, are you still willing to go? Tang Heo asked. Go. I believe that my father will not harm me, and my father can have such murderous aura. I think I have been to the killing capital and managed to get out of it, right? Since my father can do it, so can I. Tang San said firmly. Chapter 374 FLANDERS and -039, Crisis. These idiots. Looking at Tang Heo and Tang San full of confidence, Hu Jiu didn't know what to say about them. Well, with Tang Heo escorting him, in fact, Tang San's danger in the capital of slaughter isn't that big. I remembered that the king of slaughter was still very jealous of Tang Heo, and didn't dare to target Tang San at all. For Tang San, perhaps going to the capital of slaughter this time will yield unexpected results. Maybe, when he comes out, he will find a wife for himself. Counting the time, Hu Lina went to the capital of slaughter at about this time. Tang San went there ahead of time. Maybe he could form a deeper relationship with Hu Lina. As soon as he said it, Tang Heo was also impatient. After making a decision, he acted on the spot. Zhao. Jiu. I'm going to send Zhao San first. I'm afraid I will be away for a few days. Please help me take care of Yin these days. Tang Heo instructed before leaving. Let's go. It's not that I have no strength, not to mention that this is the Eye of Ice and Fire. You don't need to worry about my safety. Just remember to protect the safety of the mistress. Yin's figure appeared beside everyone. In the past 3 months, Yin has grown into a soul beast of more than 40,000 years. This cultivation base is already very strong in a place like Sunset Forest, not to mention that she is still rebuilding. Luo is really not her opponent. Mom, then I'll go first, and I'll come to see you when I come out of the slaughter city. Tang San looked at Yin reluctantly. This time he didn't know how long it would take to go to the slaughter city, but at the speed of his mother's growth, I'm afraid that by the time he comes out, his mother has already been resurrected. Well, pay attention to safety. Yin suppressed his worries and said with a smile. After she finished speaking, before she could watch Tang San leave, the figure quickly dissipated. With her current strength, she couldn't maintain the phantom for a long time. It could only appear for a short time, so under normal circumstances, she would not will appear. Tang Heo and Tang San left Bing Ho Liang Gaian and instantly made the place quiet. In order not to leave Yin alone, Hu Jiu simply brought Zhao Wu and Zhu Zuking over and asked them to chat with Yin. In the next period of time, Hu Jiu's life fell into peace. He blessed Yin with the 2 eyes of ice and fire every day. The rest of the time, he would either go to Shrek Academy or devote himself to cultivating soul skills. Laid back. Today, Flender's office. Zhao. Jiu, you're here. Come in and sit. I just got a batch of good tea leaves, and I'll brew them for you. Seeing Hu Jiu, Flender had a diligent smile on his face. This smile hangs on Flender's shoehorn face. How treacherous it looks. There. is nothing to be courteous, either a traitor or a thief. Hu Jiu looked at Flender vigilantly, wondering what he was trying to do. President, tell me something straight. You make me a little scared. Hu Jiu looked at Flender suspiciously. Puff. Liu. Erlang next to him spit out a sip of tea from his mouth. Haha, Boss Fu, look, let's tell you, if you have something to say, you're going to be shriveled now. Flender's face was stiff, as black as a coal pan. Okay, you little nine, I kindly made tea for you, but you still dislike it. I won't give you a drink. I drink it myself. Don't, Dean Flender, I'm a good student of yours. If you have anything, just say it. I'll definitely help you if I can. Hu Jiu patted his chest and said with a smile, hey, that's right. After hearing Hu Jiu's assurance, Flender put on a satisfied smile. The matter is not complicated. After Hu Jiu and the others won the Continental Advanced College Elite Soul Master competition, Shrek Academy became famous, and the students who signed up for admission almost swarmed the academy. Moreover, Shrek and the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School have also reached a cooperative relationship to help the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School train students in order not to smash his own brand. He found Hu Jiu and asked him to provide some cultivation ginseng for the college. It's not difficult. By the way, Dean, how many people are there in our college? Hu Jiu asked curiously. It is really not difficult for him to cultivate ginseng at a low level. If he only doubles his cultivation speed, he can make it in batches, and it is not a problem to have thousands of ginseng per day. 10,000 people. Flender laughed. 10,000? Hu Jiu almost exclaimed. His head was about the size of a rattle. That's not good, Dean. You are trying to exhaust me. If I provide you with so much cultivation ginseng every day, I will not cultivate. Question mark? No, absolutely not. Having said that, Hu Jiu didn't care about drinking tea anymore, so he raised his feet and walked out, preparing to go to the next door to find Zhao Walqi. Hey, Zhao Jiu, don't go. I didn't ask you to provide 10,000 cultivation ginsengs. 1,000. I only need 1,000. Flender hurriedly stepped out and pulled out Hu Jiu, who was about to step out of the door. No, not even 1,000. At most 50. Hu Jiu still shook his head. He didn't want to kill himself for a little money. Fu. Lao Gui. You dare to bully Lao Tz's disciples. Get out and be beaten. At the critical moment, Zhao Walqi ran over from the side. Of course, Hu Jiu informed him not to peel off the skin. HMPH. Just fight. I'm afraid you won't succeed. Today, I have to let you know who is the boss in this academy. Flender snorted coldly and stood in front of Zhao Wuji. The two of them looked at each other, and the spark of battle ignited in an instant. Mr. Erlang, what's the situation? Why is Dean Flender anxious to cultivate ginseng? After Flender and Zhao Wuji went out, Hu Jiu looked at Liu Erlang. It's not a big deal. You also know the facilities of our academy. In terms of the mimetic training environment, we are still a little worse than other advanced Soul Master academies. The mimetic cultivation environment is linked to the speed of the students' cultivation, which is short. In just a few months, our students have fallen slightly behind the Heaven Dao Royal Academy, so Flender is in a hurry. Liu Erlang explained. So, that's the case. Hu Jiu nodded, expressing his understanding point. If this is the case, in fact, it is not necessary to use his cultivation ginseng. A person's strength is limited, and ginseng will be lost after eating, and it cannot be reused. So, if you want to solve this problem, you have to find a way from the basic facilities of the college. And this method is easy to solve. To put it bluntly, it is a question of money. As long as there is enough front. Are you afraid that the facilities of the college will not be able to keep up? Haha, isn't this a coincidence? Hu Jiu said with a big laugh. I just made a lot of money during this time. Aside from other things, it's not a problem to build a better mimetic cultivation environment. At least we can't compare Heaven Dao Royal Academy as bad. Chapter 375. Reaching the destination. That's not good. How can I ask for your money? I, Flender, are not someone who takes advantage of my students. It Didn't take long for Flender and Zao Walkie to finish their discussions, and the two of them returned to the office with bruised skin. As soon as he heard Hu Jiu's suggestion, Flender shook his head repeatedly and refused without thinking. It is true to say that he is stingy and greedy for money, but being stingy and greedy for money does not mean greed. He can't do it if he takes advantage of students. It's better to let me buy your cultivators, and I don't want more. You can provide me with 100 sticks a day. If you don't delay your cultivation, you can get as much money as you need. As for the development of the academy, you don't have to worry about it. Well, we have enough students now, and it will be a matter of time before the college wants to develop, at most a little later. I can still wait for this time. Okay. Then, Flender said it all for the sake of it, and Hu Jiu didn't bother anymore. By the way, Teacher Erlong, are you approaching level 80? Suddenly, Hu Jiu asked Liu Erlong. Haha, that's almost it. It's probably just a few days. It's thanks to your practice of ginseng. Otherwise, the teacher wouldn't improve so fast. Said this, Liu Erlong was happy. In the past few months, few of them have been idle. Zao Walkie and Flender's levels have been raised to level 82, while Liu Erlong is about to break through level 80 because of his first level, which has improved a bit more. Honor the teacher. This is what students should do. Hu Jiu really didn't favor one or the other over Zao Walkie and the others. They treated each item equally. Zhao Wu and the others had it, as well as Zao Walkie and the others. It's just that the level has reached their level. Even if it is 10 times or 20 times the cultivation speed, it is difficult to quickly increase the level of soul power at one time point. When the level reaches level 80, the breakthrough of each level is not that simple. Some people cannot break through level 1 even in a year. This is only level 80. If you reach level 90 or above, you often won't be able to break through level 1 for several years or even decades. This shows how difficult it is to break through. Hey, Zhao Jiu, listen to what you mean. It seems that you are about to break through level 80? Flender grasped the point of Hu Jiu's words. He remembered that Hu Jiu used the word also just now. Doesn't that mean, as soon as Flender's voice fell, Zao Walkie and Liu Erlong's eyes instantly turned to Hu Jiu, and there was a strong shock in their eyes. Well, yes, but compared to Teacher Erlong, it's still a bit worse. If you want to break through, it's probably a month away. Hu Jiu's words were calm, but it shocked Flender and the others. Although he knew that Hu Jiu's spirit power was improving very fast, and he was also the owner of ginseng cultivation, he was definitely not the same as them in terms of spirit power increase. But he didn't expect to break through rank 80 so soon. In this way, I'm afraid that it will not be long before these old guys will be surpassed. Haha. As expected of my old Zao's disciple, you did a good job. Zao Wuji patted Hu Jiu on the shoulder excitedly. His tone couldn't hide his excitement. As if the news that Hu Jiu was about to break through was happier than his own breakthrough. That's fine. Then we can go hunting for soul beasts together, so as not to run again in the future. Flender also said happily. In his heart, Hu Jiu has always been a student of Shrek. Now that students need to hunt for spirit rings, he, the dean, will definitely not stand by. Moreover, with Hu Jiu's auxiliary ability, it is not certain who will help him at that time. For the rest of the time, all that's left is to wait. According to Hu Jiu's estimation, when he breaks through level 80, Tang Heo will be back soon, and it is time to go to the Stardao Great Forest to hunt soul beasts, if he wants to deal with the Dark Demon Tiger. It is not enough for him, Flender and others. This time, he decides to ask Daming and Erming to do a favor. Together, they can get revenge and get him a spirit ring, which is the best of both worlds. As for Tang Heo, whom Hu Jiu missed, he had just arrived at his destination. After half a month's sleepover, he and Tang San finally came to an unknown town. As soon as he stepped into the town, Tang San felt something strange here. He felt a special chill in the people of this town. It was similar to the murderous aura that Tang Heo unleashed, but it was different. This discovery made his nerves tense immediately, and he always felt that everyone around him had bad intentions towards him. Tang Heo seemed to be quite familiar with this place, and saw that he was familiar with taking Tang San to a tavern. The tavern didn't look any different, but when they walked in, it felt a cold and dark atmosphere. About 30% of the tables in the tavern were filled with people. It seemed that there were not a lot of people, but the atmosphere here was very quiet, and no one spoke. When Tang Heo and Tang San stepped into the tavern, it didn't bring any influence to the tavern. Most people simply glanced at them and stopped paying attention. As soon as the two found a place to sit down, a waiter dressed in black came to them. "What do you want?" the waiter asked coldly. Tang Heo's expression was also cold, and he said indifferently, "2 glasses of Bloody Mary." Hearing the name Bloody Mary, the waiter's expression changed, and he asked again, "Are you sure?" Tang Heo gave him a cold look, and the waiter immediately left without daring to say a word. After a while, 2 cups of turbid liquid were brought up. The liquid was dark red, as if it was blood, and if you got closer, you could ask a bloody smell, which was extremely pungent. Hearing this smell, Tang San almost spit it out. "Drink it," Tang Heo said to Tang San indifferently. "Dad, what is this?" Tang San asked curiously. "Drink," Tang Heo said again, his voice full of sternness. Seeing his father's anger, Tang San didn't dare to say more, hurriedly picked up the Bloody Mary and drank it in one gulp. "This is blood," Tang Heo explained after Tang San drank it. "Great." Hearing that it was actually blood, Tang San's face instantly turned pale, and he retched, as if he wanted to spit out what he had just drank. He held back for a while, but he couldn't bear it anymore, and finally turned his head and vomited. The strong vomiting sound suddenly attracted the attention of the guests in the tavern, and some people laughed. It turned out to be a young child. "This is not the place you should come. Hurry up and go home." Haha. I can't even take a Bloody Mary, and I still want to go there. I'm afraid that, even if I go in, it will be a food delivery. Isn't this a child who hasn't grown up? I advise you to go home and ask your mother to drink milk, so as not to cry in the future. All kinds of nasty voices sounded, and the whole tavern seemed to come alive at this moment, full of noisy sounds. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.